Disc Golf Podcast.
Welcome to the Intentional Disc Golfer Podcast, the show dedicated to helping you elevate your disc golf game with purpose and strategy. Whether you're stepping up to the tee for the first time or you're a seasoned pro chasing that perfect round, this podcast is your guide to playing smarter, training better, and building confidence on the course. We are Brandon and Jenny Czuprynski, passionate disc golfers here to explore everything from technique, course management, mental focus, and gear selection. Grab your favorite disc, settle in, and let's take your game to the next level. Intentionally.
And thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Intentional Disc Golfer Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Jenny.
And we would like to welcome you to this very exciting episode. We have never done this before. We got a live discussion panel with, we got 5 DGPT pros here to talk about how to get ready for a tournament. Let's give it up. All right. And first of all, we'd like to thank the fans. You guys are the reason that we can keep doing this, that we can do what we do. So thank you. And if you would like to support the show, please like, subscribe, follow, tell all of your friends. We have all the social medias. We got TikTok, Twitter. I think we got a YouTube. We used to have YouTube. We got Facebook, Instagram. What else we got?
It's called X now.
X, it's X. Oh yeah, X. That's right. That's right. And if you'd like to get a hold of us directly, you can email us at theintentionaldiscgolfer@gmail.com. All one word, at theintentionaldiscgolfer@gmail.com. You also can text us directly. We receive fan mail through text message off our website. So if you go and click on the button up in the left-hand corner there, you can send us a fan mail directly. And the reason that we are here tonight, we are doing a fundraiser for Mindful Flight, and we got Jenny here. She's going to tell us a little bit about Mindful Flight.
Yeah, so as my journey with disc golf has grown and I have learned about how much healing has happened, I've been working with some of my students and noticing that if they're dysregulated, I can give them a disc. I can say, go throw into the basket until you can get 3 in a row. And when they get 3 in a row, they can come talk to me. So I'm focusing on figuring out the social emotional learning aspects of disc golf and how we can help more kids through disc golf.
All right, that's excellent. So before we get started and we introduce our panel of pros, we do need to take a break and hear from our sponsors. Let's do this.
Big news, disc golf fans. Treasures of the Forest just dropped something special. Their mile marker 63 minis. These unique pieces were crafted from materials collected with the help of Sime straight from the course he designed. That means you're not just getting a mini, you're holding a piece of disc golf history. Stop by, say hi, grab your mile marker 63 mini before they're gone.
And we actually have the special privilege of having Matt Sime. Matt Sime?
Matt Sime, yeah.
Sime, he's sitting here with us, the creator, founder of Treasures of the Forest, correct?
Correct.
Give them a round of applause.
Woo! Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Very, very welcome. All right, and then for our next one, we got...
All right, let's talk about a brand that's bringing some serious fun and personality to disc golf. Salty Unicorns Apparel. That's right, Salty Unicorns Apparel. They started because disc golf fashion was seriously lacking in style, especially for women. What began as a simple search for better apparel turned into something bigger, and in just a few weeks, they were outfitting Owen Scoggins, and now they've got Jessica Oleski, Lucas Carmichael, and Trinity Bryant rocking their gear too. Salty Unicorns is different because they actually prioritize women's apparel, something most brands don't. And they're not stopping there. Pretty soon, they're launching their own Salty Unicorn bags, bringing that same energy and creativity to the gear you carry. So if you want to stand out on the course and support a brand that's shaking things up, check out Salty Unicorns Apparel, because disc golf should be fun, and so should what you wear. Find them online, follow them on social media, and bring some color to your game. Use the code SALTY10 for a 10% discount.
All right, and we're going to have Jenny lead us off introducing our first professional.
Now? Yeah. Oh, God. All right, one of the most powerful and fearless competitors in the FPO division, with a background in ultimate frisbee and a passion for pushing boundaries. She's brought an explosive style and relentless drive to the disc golf course. Her distance is undeniable, her mindset is sharp, and her presence on the Pro Tour just keeps growing stronger. Get ready for Holyn Handley. All right, our next guest today is a rising force on the disc golf scene, known for his smooth mechanics, fierce competitiveness, and mental game well beyond his years. He's battled on the biggest stages, turned heads with clutch performances, and continues to prove he belongs among the sport's elite. From junior champion to pro tour contender, his journey is just getting started. Stick around for Robert Burridge. A fan favorite with a clean forehand, powerful backhand, and a game that continues to evolve with every season. Bursting onto the scene with highlight reel moments and a breakout tour run alongside some of disc golf's biggest names. He's proven he can hang with the best, humble, driven, and always up for a challenge. Don't forget about that Star Wars. How about Casey White?
Five, technically, unless you count these as individual, or like each letter as individual, like 1, 2, 3, and then
All right,
4,
so
5.
someone returning to the Intentional Disc Golfer podcast. He brings unmatched energy, passion, and personality to the disc golf scene. Known for his dynamic shot selection, creative play style, and dedication to the sports community, he's not just a competitor, he's an ambassador. Whether he's hyping up a crowd, running clinics, or grinding on tour, he does it all with heart. Known as the man of the people, Mr. Eric Oakley. All right, a calm competitor with smooth power and precision. With a background in education, he has earned respect on and off the course through consistent play and sportsmanship. Here to welcome James Proctor.
Let's get started.
They fall in line, one at
All right, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed your introductions. I worked really hard on that.
I want to say I never thought I would be speaking over Star Wars music.
All
Like
right.
that is now a new life goal achieved.
Made it happen.
Yeah, you can check that box, Casey. You get to do like an intro to some Star Wars.
Yeah, perfect.
I know, right? All right, so tonight's discussion is about how to get ready for a tournament. Not only that, but also give these guys a chance to share some of their disc golf stories, how they came to disc golf, what they've been doing in disc golf, and just have some fun. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's jump off to the left of me here. We'll start with Robert Burridge. Robert Burridge, what's your disc golf story?
It's long, I guess. I started with Ultimate way back. Both my parents played Ultimate Frisbee professionally. And so just from there, I've had a Frisbee in my hand my whole life. So gotta start there. And then, my dad got me into it when I was 13, 14 and just gotten better since then. I really, really got into it during COVID while I was in college, and here we are after college, just trying to get better.
I want to say, Jace, calling you out. I hope you're listening. I said, I hope you're listening.
College is good.
Started when he was young.
College is good.
College is good. All right, let's bounce over here to Eric Oakley. What's your disc golf story, Eric?
Yeah, mouthful.
Well,
Catch him with the food in his mouth.
I picked up the game about 20 plus years ago. A good friend of mine just said, hey, do you want to go play disc golf? So I was about 14, 15 years old, and kind of stayed in my life ever since. And about 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to take the leap and go on tour. I never played an amateur event, so I was always playing in pro, and always something I wanted to do, so just went for it. I'm lucky to be here 10 years later, still doing it and feeling like my game is still improving, even at this long. So understand that time is on your side more than anything. I'm turning 37 and half a month, so I'm 36 and 11 months, or however we do it. Yeah.
Happy early
Don't get me wrong.
birthday.
Thank you. So yeah, time is of the essence, and you can keep improving. It's like as long as you go, as long as you do the right thing. So
Isn't this also the 10th year of the Pro Tour?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was on the tour the
You've been
first
in
year.
it since the first year.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
played in a couple events the first year. It was really cool. Great opportunity. Just felt it's been
That
awesome
is
to kind of
so
see it
cool.
also grow to be as big as it is, and big thanks to Pro Tour for kind of giving us an avenue to make this more a reality, because I might have had to stop a few years back, but there's a lot of great things that have come of that. So big thanks to them.
Heck yeah. Well, they're kind of the reason you guys are all here, and all of you were just gracious enough to accept our invite. So
Yeah.
Thank you to you guys, honestly.
Appreciate you, man.
Holyn, how about you? Let's jump over there.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been playing disc golf nearly as long as most of the people up here, but I found it a little bit later in 2019. Actually, my boyfriend found it, I think just a Jomez video, and it was, we were looking for something to do outside because we were both working the 9-to-5 thing and needed something to get us outdoors, and we just got hooked. I got obsessed in the way that I do sometimes about things, and started getting pretty good at it, and kind of had the opportunity around the end of 2021. We were living in California at the time, trying to move back to Texas, and it was kind of at this moment of, go jump on tour for a bit or go get a job, and went and bought a trailer, decided to do it for a year just to see how it went, and now we're here. Year number 4 on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about how hooked you get with disc golf. I was talking to a lady that just came in here before we started, and I'm like, look, if you start playing, you're going to get hooked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's infectious, for sure. All right, let's jump back over here. Mr. Proctor, what is your disc golf story?
My story starts probably in the year 2000 or 2001. I was 5 or 6 at the time, and there was a course by my house, and my dad and I would see it just driving around. We didn't know what it was, so we went out there with kind of a big Whammo beach frisbee and tossed it around, and somebody showed us and gave us some discs, and it was always kind of a hobby. I was more focused on baseball and basketball as a kid, and then when I actually won, I guess, my first pro tournament right after I graduated high school, I beat Derek Billings. And then I went to college in Reno, started playing all around the Tahoe courses, and got pretty good when I was in college. And then, been playing ever since.
Very cool. Now, am I right in hearing that you were a teacher before you became a pro disc golfer?
Yeah, I mean, so after college, I was teaching full time and then playing, during my summer and winter breaks. And I felt like I kind of had the best of both worlds. I got to do something that I loved, and then I also got to play disc golf. And I didn't really see a reason why I should change that at the time. And then, COVID doing what it did for the sport and the pro tour and the contracts, and I kind of had a conversation with my wife, and I said, if I want to tour full time, now seems like a good time to do it. So I think the second half of the 2022 season, after the school year ended, then I started touring full time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Jenny here is a principal, certified administrator. So
Yeah, I'm on the dark side now.
common
unfortunately.
thread.
Pushing papers a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I'm more working with kids and pushing papers, but yeah.
That's
yeah.
good.
All right, Casey. What about your disc golf story? What do you got?
I mean, in what?
We got time. Have fun.
My dad and I loved playing catch with a frisbee, and after many months and years of us just playing catch in the yard, he finally had enough daylight to go to Dick's Sporting Goods first and run to our local course that we didn't know was on the side of a cliff in the forest. And we got lost our first time ever. We were told very, very good directions, and we just took the wrong turn on our way into the course and ended up in the middle of the course, backtracked to hole 10, and just played the back 9, but it was like the greatest 9 holes of golf I had ever played. I was a ball golfer. So then we were lucky enough to run into somebody on the first hole when we were on 18 that had like 8 discs, and we were just like whoa, like, you know, what's this guy got going on? He told us about league and tournaments. We had no idea. We were out there with a beast each, just chucking it. And we got hooked immediately, got my buddy and his dad hooked on it as well. And then we lent our discs to them, and they misplaced them, never saw them again. So we didn't play again for a year and a half. And then my local pro shop opened up at the same course, Hawk's Nest. And I had bought my dad a starter set. Well, I didn't buy it, but I got my dad for Father's Day a starter set.
Let me guess. A firebird, a shark, and an aviar.
Leopard shark aviar.
Okay, leopard shark. Okay,
leopard
gotcha.
shark aviar. And then when the store opened up, we had somebody that could recommend me a build your own starter pack. I got a Starlight Valkyrie, an X Buzz, and a soft magnet. And every round we played with the one beast each, we just played match play, and I could never beat him. And as soon as I got 3 discs, like a mid-range driver putter, he never beat me again, unless we played with 1 disc. Like, my dad beat me like a couple years ago because we played a 1-disc round.
All right, here's a good question. What's your dad rated?
He does not have a rating. He actually just got his PDJ number for Christmas.
Oh,
yeah, my stepmom gifted him and my younger brother their PDJ number for Christmas. And basically, it's just like, now they have no excuse to not play tournaments. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, I don't spend that much time at home. And it takes a little bit of a nudge to get them on the course, but once they get going, that's all they think about, like, you know, like the rest of us. But yeah, anyway, just like pretty natural progression, as natural as it could get. Every single day I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, which was throwing discs in the backyard at a basket. And little did I know I was practicing and training every single day. And next thing I know, I'm going to the Junior World Championship and taking 3rd place, and trajectory was just on and on from there. Started making money, graduated high school, basically dove all in as soon as COVID happened.
What year was the Junior Worlds?
2017. Yeah. I was born in 2000.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's bounce back over here. Matt, now you're on the pro tour, but in a bit of a different capacity. Talk about what your disc golf story. I'm assuming you're a disc golfer.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what's your disc golf story?
I say, yeah, different than all of these stories. My first introduction to disc golf was in 1999. One of my camp counselors was a professional disc golfer. John Drummond is a Discraft. I think he's still sponsored by Discraft. But when I met him back then, I was blown away. Like, you're a professional frisbee thrower? Yeah, I throw frisbees with my dad. Like Casey said, I throw frisbees. I play catch with my dad all day long. Like, we do that. We throw as far away as we can.
And for the record, it never got old.
Yeah.
It's like, just saying that.
But I didn't even know what disc golf was until I met John Drummond at camp in '99. And I was blown away that people could make a living throwing frisbees. Like, what? And even at that point, I had no idea, or as I made my way through the progression, and I learned about disc golf in, say, 2007, we started throwing things at things. We throw the rock at that thing. We throw the golf ball at that thing. We throw the frisbee at that thing. And we throw the frisbee at that thing, and we keep throwing frisbees at that thing. And we learn that this is a sport. This is that sport that I heard about in '99 that John Drummond told me about. We were throwing frisbees at things. And I could never imagine that I could make a living out of it. You know, I make wood turnings. I make a little mini out of the wood that I find, or things that I found. I don't know.
Well, so Treasure of the Forest, you go around and you take, you collect things from different courses, right? And then you put them into epoxy molds and then make minis out of them. And I remember the first time that I saw one of these things was at Ladies of the Lake when Jenny had the most epic freaking win I think I've ever seen in disc golf. And she's actually got it sitting right here. You remember,
awesome.
You remember this one?
I remember making that mini. I do, yes.
Yeah, we had a conversation over at Shelton about it. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, come up to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Here.
So,
Yeah.
Of course we do.
What's the story here? Where's the other mic?
where's the other mic? Oh,
You could just put mine on.
here. Where's the other mic?
There you go.
We got a story.
Introduce yourself. Who are you?
Hi, I'm.
He's turning it on. I think. Go.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Shantae, Matt's girlfriend and business manager of Treasures of the Forest. That particular mini, Matt asked me to make the letters out of vinyl. I tried 4 different ways to get these letters to come out, and each different way took over an hour, and he needed 3 of them by 5 o'clock when I gave up at 10 o'clock at night. So what I ended up doing is pulled the letters out of the vinyl and then used a marker, like a paint marker, and it ended up looking so cool that it actually launched me into start painting minis.
I love it.
So that project was one of the worst days of Treasures of the Forest of my life.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it's one of your worst days because it was one of my best days.
When they
getting
were
it.
done, it was epically worth it, but it was like the most frustrating day. But when it turned out like that, it's better than anything vinyl would have been.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Very cool. All right, so the subject of conversation today is how to prepare for a tournament. So Shelton Springs, some of you have played it before, some of you maybe not. Shelton Springs, right? Great course. Glad to have you guys here.
And thank you to Mason County Disc Golf for all the hard work that you guys are putting in to make that happen.
And so it's a newer course on the tour, and it's a little bit of a different flavor because we've seen some tour on coverage and whatnot, and it's a lot of ball golf courses, parks and things like that. This is probably one of the only primarily wooded courses you guys have on tour. How do you guys come into town so fresh and prepare for that?
Helps when we have an off week.
Yeah.
Get some extra rounds in?
Or less.
Extra rounds and rest mostly.
Yeah. Scheduling is one of the kind of more crazy parts of our tour because you have the Pro Tour who needs to be profitable and they need to run events week after week after week. But at the same time, we sometimes feel obligated to play week after week after week. And that's not realistic for the human body to do what they're asking us, especially when we don't have the travel that we would like as far as getting to place quickly. Like plane would be awesome. We don't make that much money to do that. Nobody's doing that. We don't have trainers. We don't have these things to help us recover. The finances aren't there to meet what the tour is sometimes asking. So having any off week at any point in the season is immense for the players. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to start to see better golf from the field the more we get our scheduling down. So I just to tack onto that and go into a little soapbox. Yeah, more rest is good.
More rest is good. So
Yeah.
you're talking from a health standpoint.
Yes.
You work so hard and you go, and your body breaks down after a while. So having that off week is nice. Okay, gotcha.
I will say that the tour might say things as, well, you don't have to play every week. Well, you then stop making the points in the tournament finals and all these things and have to have qualifications at all these events that lead to potential bigger things for us. Any weekend can be our weekend. That can break us out. Why would we not bet on ourselves? But also, we're going to advocate and ask for those things, so please listen to us. And we understand you need to make money, but let's figure out a better way that doesn't harm our bodies and shorten our careers. I'm lucky to be at 10 years into my career, but I am also worried that there are going to be players who only get a shortened career because of how taxing the tour can be.
Fair enough. Somebody was saying something over here.
I mean,
Yeah.
to play devil's advocate, I mean, I just took a crazy disc golf road trip on my way up the coast. But like the off week, still very thankful because I got to take my time traveling through one of my favorite parts of the country. And there's nothing more that makes me scream than when I see the schedule come out in July or August and it's OTB Open and Portland Open back-to-back weekends. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
It's only a 12-hour drive.
Yeah, but like, what? I'm just supposed to skip Lake Tahoe, and I'm supposed to skip the Redwoods, and I'm supposed to skip the Oregon coast, and all these things every year. I'm supposed to skip those every year.
No.
Like, I want the time. And I took our dog Tato and I. We went on a crazy trip. We played 7 courses in 7 days, or 7 courses in 8 days, something like that. And it was pretty awesome. I mean, I had to take one day off because after 27 holes at Whistler's Bend, my elbow was demanding it. But it wasn't a part of the plan.
I mean, tacking on to that, then you also get a mental rest from the Pro Tour.
For
I mean,
sure.
So you get to
feed
play
the
the
soul.
fun
You feed the soul.
Yeah, you play the fun courses, and you're sitting there like, I don't care how I shoot. I'm just going to go out and throw.
Every single disc in my bag is not in my bag for this tournament. Like every single disc I threw for that entire week, I am not throwing this weekend.
So that's another break where we talk about mental break, where it's a physical break of an off week, but if you don't feel like you need that, you get the mental break of not going, I need to throw 5 on every hole and know what I'm doing every time.
You feed the body or you feed the soul. And when you take your starting lineup out, you take away all expectations, and it's just for the love of the game. And I think me more than anybody can vouch for that being way more important than a competitive edge. But your body being healthy is number one, because I couldn't do either of those things if my body wasn't healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, for us as amateurs, this last weekend and this weekend we have off. So I understand that too. You know, that time off is important.
Well, that and we're getting old.
Yeah, I think we're the oldest up here. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the oldest at the table. Maybe.
Plus, like, you guys get time off, you can do more content creation. Right?
Perfect.
Which is more money without physical demanding. And we love your content creation, so keep it up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you,
So-
RJ.
So I'll hop back over to Holyn real quick. So when you guys are out there on the grind, like, what are some of the tips and tricks you do to take care of your body and to recuperate in such a quick time? And I mean, because the turnaround has to be grueling.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a constant balance between doing enough work to be skills-wise prepared for the next tournament. So having your skills being sharp, knowing the course well enough to be able to play well, but also being recovered and being in the right state of mind going into the tournament. Because your mood, you know, if you're grumpy and frustrated and burnt out going to a tournament versus excited and just wanting to see the flight of a disc, you know, going in is going to have a huge impact. And how that is not only on one given week, but over the course of an entire month, over the course of the entire season. And so for me, you know, it's kind of having a loose structure that I stick with week to week. So I have kind of the minimum amount of work that I need to do on average to be prepared. And then that includes, you know, practice rounds, a little bit of field work, and also working out, so some strength training in with that. And then whatever time is left is kind of open-ended to like, do I feel like I need more practice and would benefit from that, or would I benefit from doing something fun? Would I benefit from just kind of vegging out and watching Netflix all day and kind of letting everything recuperate? And so it's just kind of that on repeat.
Gotcha. What about James over here? What do you do? What do you do? You got any tips or tricks to help recuperate?
I mean, I think I'm in the minority as far as I feel like a majority of the tour is young and excited and they want to go play golf every day. You know, when I have an off week, sometimes, you know, I'll fly home and I don't even bring my disc golf bag and I'll just not play for 5 days.
Thanks for hauling that, Eric. He really appreciates it.
You know, when you, like, for me, I feel I've been playing for so long. I'm not necessarily working on my putt week to week or working on, you know, my backhand. There might be one angle or one shot that I might try to dial in if it was off the week before. But, you know, when I'm getting to a course, most of the courses we've played before, if for some reason I'm getting to a course and we haven't played there yet, or if I'm not comfortable on that course, you know, I'll throw 1 or 2 shots and try to figure it out. But after that, I'm really only throwing 1 disc per hole. I just try to, you know, limit my throws, and, you know, I'm a big fan of taking off days when I can. I'll like play 2 practice rounds, then I won't throw the next day before the tournament, or, you know, however I can fit an off day in. The 4-day events, that's not really possible, but yeah, I think, you know, I've been around the block when it comes to playing tournaments and playing events and throwing, and so I mean, I was never one of those guys that was like, I got hooked and I played every day for 3 years. Like, that was never me. And so, you know, when I can kind of step away from disc golf and do some other things unrelated to the sport, I think that helps me kind of stay balanced and stay, you know, like Holyn said, excited to play the event when it's time.
I'm not going to lie, as someone who's gotten really into disc golf, it's nice to have a weekend off to actually like be with the kids, do the laundry, you know. We built a chicken coop. We've got 9 chickens now, so we wouldn't have been able to do that if we were
and
working
next
as hard
week
as you
you'll
guys
be
are.
itching to play again and you'll be really excited.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Apparently when we're not disc golfing, we have lives. It's weird.
By the way, James, you don't need to work on your putt.
Appreciate you.
It's really good.
It's so it feels pretty good, right?
It sounds like you would actually prefer if you didn't.
You could ask Yesse. He got a little annoyed because he, I mean, I went from first round of Florida up until maybe 4 days before Champions Cup I wasn't allowed to throw, without throwing, without putting. And we got out of the car and I hit back-to-back 40-footers. And Yesse goes, "That's it, I'm done practice putting. You either know how to putt or you don't." But it's useless.
Hey, I'm a huge advocate of that mantra right there. You either know how to do it or you don't.
Yeah.
I one of my best putting rounds of the year. I think I threw 4 practice putts on the green. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so let's bounce back over here. How about, Eric, when you walk onto a course like this, like, how do you take it apart? What are you seeing? What are you thinking? Like, what's your process like?
I mean, really trying to dial in the shots that I want to be throwing as much as I possibly can, like leaning on maybe certain discs, if I can lean on throwing more dynasties and things like that all over the course, both forehand and backhand. I feel like I'm hitting my gaps, covering enough distance, and staying in the fairways like really easily. But if the course is asking for maybe a little more distance, then it's like, okay, maybe I need to start thinking about bumping up in disc. So I'm always trying to dial in and like picking my best shot, even if it might be slightly harder on the hole, where it might call for a backhand turnover, and I'm like, I don't feel very comfortable in those. I'll still try and force the forehand and figure it out with my style. So leaning on my strengths as much as I can, and then if it's not there, then maybe I spend a couple extra reps on that tee pad to make sure I dial in exactly where I want to be lining up, how I want to throw it, and then work on getting that conviction off the tee pad of how I'm gonna feel about it every single time. So yeah, start with that, finding my best shots if they're available, lean on them, and allow that to kind of build your focus forward, because I think that's going to put you in the right headspace if you're able to play your skills on a course. And that's the beauty of disc golf in that way, is I don't have to throw the same shot that anyone else does. I might be the only person who throws a forehand on this hole. if I birdie it or if I get 3 pars on it and I don't bogey it and other people do, it's like I might take strokes. That seems good to me. So let's figure it out for our own specialty.
How about Holyn? How do you take apart a course like this?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Eric just said. You know, it's having an understanding of what are my most comfortable shots, and then I try to break down on the course to stick to those as much as possible. And you know, sometimes that means I'm happy with par. I'm trying to understand what is a good score on different holes given my strengths and the way I want to tackle it. What is a good score over the weekend, and not just, you know, not necessarily taking on a lot of risk without there being a lot of reward. So really, I'm just trying to make it as boring as possible, frankly.
Like boring golf is scoring golf type of thing?
Exactly. Like, you know, some people will be throwing these really cool, you know, turnovers, but if I can accomplish it with just a power sidearm, I'm going to do that. And then I do like to have some options, especially if I'm throwing like maybe a more technical forehand or something like that. Some days that's not quite in the slot. I like to have a backup plan on certain holes, so I have room if you know, one shot's feeling bad on a particular day, I can still feel confident going into holes. But yeah, just like Eric said, it's you make the course fit to your strengths, because that's usually what's gonna, when you have the pressure on, that's what's gonna give you your best performance.
Course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll bounce over here. Robert, we haven't heard from you in a while. What kind of challenges do you face when you walk onto a course like this? Because there's not many in the Pro Tour. How is that different? What kind of challenges do you face?
So I think first and foremost, I mean, most of the courses on tour require distance more than anything else. And I think that's a common theme, especially through the front half of the course where we're going through even Florida. Like, if you can throw a mid or fairway on a lot of the shots, that helps a lot, because then you're not worried about big rim skipping. If you can dial back on something that you have control over that may not fade as hard, that's better. Out here it's different, especially coming directly from Champions Cup over in Stockton, where we're throwing arguably full power on nearly every shot, whether that's full power roller, whether that's full power sidearm, full power backhand. You're throwing hard, especially with wind. You're trying to punch it through the wind, not allowing the wind to really mess with the disc. We come up here, there's a lot more par threes. There's a lot of par threes compared to most Pro Tour courses here. And I think that's one of the challenges, is because on the par fours, we get a certain distance, we get a certain landing zone, and we say, okay, if I can get in this general area, I can then find the green, whether that's backhand, forehand, I can find a way to it. Here you need to be dialed on that first shot off the tee, and so it puts a little more pressure on that. I'm stepping up to the tee, I need to know what I'm throwing, I need to know how I'm throwing it, I need to know where it's likely going to land, especially in a wooded course, whether that's, I might try to miss early on a par 4 to try to get into the left side, where the new holes 12 and 13, and 13 you almost want to miss late left on the tee shot, so that you kind of open up that gap. You don't want to have that early right turn. You don't want to have something that might go right. You want something that'll stay straight to slightly left. And so it's forcing a certain shot, and then whatever angles and whatever speed here that you're comfortable with, you can adjust to that, kind of what Holyn and Eric said, where they might be comfortable throwing fairway a little bit softer to try to get the angle right. Some other people, myself included, will probably go with a mid that's just harder, because that's the speed that I like to throw. And so that just finding your shot, but then learning what the miss is on these very, very technical holes is going to be really important for the weekend.
So I like what you're saying there about the first shot off the tee is important, because you're not just chewing up distance as much as you can. It has to land in a place where it's going to give you a chance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's well said. What other challenges are you guys seeing with this course, being so heavily wooded and tight, and like you said, a lot of par threes, which you don't see on the tour?
I think, one thing this course offers is just the consistency of gap hitting. And, when we're playing practice rounds, you throw a couple, one of them hits a tree, the other one goes over there, you go to your good one and you throw from there a lot. And, it's easier for me, at least, the gaps feel pretty big in the practice rounds. But once you start your tournament, maybe you late release one, it hits a tree, maybe the next hole you early release left side, all of a sudden those gaps just shrink. And then every hole you step up to, you have to kind of fight to get that rhythm back. And so I think, this course, it's going to offer that challenge. And then it's also, we're kind of used to needing to birdie every hole, or at least we feel like we need to birdie every hole.
Yeah, not much room for mistakes on the tour.
No, and I feel like, if you're just a tick off, but throwing well, you could see yourself parring 7, 8, 9 holes in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because you're not feet off and going through the trees. You're hitting the tree.
That's right. Yeah. But that's going to be like sort of a mental test. Like who's going to get frustrated and start pressing, and who's going to stay relaxed and let it kind of come to them. Mm-hmm. It's different. And yeah, like Casey said, woods golf. You're gonna miss your line by an inch. You're gonna kick into a giant forest, and somebody's gonna shank one by 4 feet and have a birdie putt. And you got to be able to, kind of be blind to those shots as well, and not let that frustrate you. But
so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got to be ready to be creative and humble yourself all at the same time, because there's going to be places where your good tee shots are not in a good place, and you're like, dang it, I'm up against a tree. If I try and get there, I might bring bogey into play. So it's like, all right, eat your par, get off the hole, move on. But then there are going to be times where it's like, all right, this is doable, but it's a shot I haven't thrown in a long time, where it's this flippy backhand fan grip mid-range that I need to hold and pan out. But it's like, that is the biggest gap, so let's go execute it. It's like you end up in these situations on a course like this that you use your entire kit. And you might get asked to use your entire kit. Where I do think that when we play these golf courses and open courses, it's pretty one-dimensional in a lot of ways. It's either hyzers or flexes. It's not a lot of flip-ups. It's not a lot of that. You do that if that's your strong suit. But coming out here, you gotta kind of have a real range of angles and then ability to make good decisions after that.
So you're saying it's a good test of a broader skill set.
Absolutely.
And I see what you're saying 100%. About the coverage, because we watch a lot of coverage. When we're bumming around, eating dinner, or whatever, and it's the same 3 discs over and over and over. Mm-hmm. Or maybe just a slightly different rendition of the same disc, but it's the same 3 discs over and over.
You're going to use a lot of different discs out here.
Yeah.
And that's not just maybe a lot of the same discs on the tee, but the second shots are all going to be so different.
Yeah.
By the way, Holyn, your one with the pine trees on it and stuff, like that's one of my favorites. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, how about Matt? You're coming from a different perspective. You're more on the vendor side of things, but you're on tour. It's grueling. What do you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely different from what I've been hearing all of these guys talk about. My work week is Thursday through Sunday, and I have a little bit of an off time when I'm preparing for the next event. And we like to find some of the touristy things to do. I also, as a course collector, will go out of my way to find the different courses, higher rated courses to check out in the area. So my off time is spent looking for the different unique disc golf experiences to have. Cool. The treasures of disc golf. The course owners. I like connecting with the course owners and course designers, especially like around Pro Tour events. I like to experience the Pro Tour courses and interact with the people that are dedicated to making the course what it is. The the volunteers, the designers, the directors, the different course, the people involved in making the tournament. And I like connecting with them and seeing what got the course to where it is today.
How many courses are you up to playing?
My total course count is 1,720.
Nice, Matt.
Something like that.
That's a good total.
Wow.
And you just added Rain Shadow, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice.
I just added Rain Shadow. That is my most recently played course is Rain Shadow. Yes.
Cool.
And I was gonna say something, I forgot.
No worries. So I think you said something really important there is like
Yeah.
you go and search out those special experiences out there on the course. So to our pros, what kind of special experiences have you had so far getting ready for the Cascade Challenge?
Oh, brother. We were just talking about it.
Let's do it.
No, it's his special experience. He's going to tell you.
Oh, okay, go.
Utah.
What am I gonna tell you about?
About going to base camp in Moab.
Base camp in Moab. Base camp is one of the top experiences I've ever had in disc golf. Like, that is one of the most impressive courses that I've ever played. And part of it is the drive out there. And I will tell you that the drive out there might ruin your vehicle. Because I just did it. Oh, no. There is a lot out there. And even the creek crossing itself isn't that crazy. Like, if you take it slowly and go through the creek, you're okay. And the rest of the drive is pretty incredible. There's like extreme drop-offs, and you're working your way up there to base camp. And there might be some places where you have to get out and put some rocks under your tires to get up the pass and whatnot. But yeah, we didn't even make it up to the pass. We put our van into the creek on the way up to Hurrah Pass, and we lost our van. The creek was a little bit too deep for the speed that I took it at, and
It's on video.
yeah,
It's on video.
It's on video. Right.
I do have video of it.
I just saw it.
And I did have to get a new van after that. That's all part of the experience, I suppose.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That is one of the most incredible courses I've ever played. We didn't make it out there this year, and I mean that's part of it. That's what makes it incredible, is that some people might not make it, or the experience getting out to there makes it that much more incredible.
I always live by the harder the course is to get to, the better it is. Like the crazier the experience, the more the more special it feels.
I can feel that. We have a course right behind our house called Frederickson, and you have to walk up a 3/4 of a mile, and it's you find some bears every now and again.
Yeah, we ran into some bears.
Cougar tracks. Yeah, we've been.
We walk in, first you go by some house, like, why are we going to the backyard? Then you finally get the park. You walk a 1/4 mile up the hill, over a river. Get there, there's the
Over
first
a river.
street, straight up. And we had this whole breed, my family's like, I've never been there, this is crazy, I have to leave it. But they came too early, but it gets flat after that, it's the top part.
We've been chased out of there by animals before. Yeah, it's.
There's always something right horse. Like, walk down the trail, they go over.
Oh yeah, the horses go through there.
I mean, I got lost my first time ever playing disc golf and was hooked ever since. So like,
True.
There you go.
That's it right there.
So, what are some of the magical things that you're finding on this course out here? Like Shelton Springs, it's
Too close to the main road.
too close to the main road.
Yep.
Yeah. Were you here that year when James Conrad was making his birdie putt like on the lead card, and the ice cream truck fired up right when he was putting it?
I don't remember that, but I'm not surprised, and that's really funny.
Yeah, and
that happens in Nashville too.
It was happy and you know it. And he cages out, and if you're happy and you know.
Oh, jeez.
I know. Right on 18.
That's tough.
I know. I can agree with you at the too close to the main
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Like I've taken some people that like maybe were playing their first disc golf course ever to like some crazy destination courses just because, and they're like, I think we're in the wrong place. I'm like, no, we're in the right place. I can assure you.
Are you
Like,
sure we're coming back?
Yeah, we're on SOS, and we've been driving for 3 miles and haven't seen anything of whatever.
I'll tell you a quick story, real quick. Play up at Sprinkle Valley last year, USWDGC. I was talking to my girlfriend Shantae. We met her a little bit earlier. She was talking to one of the food vendors up there, and he had never played disc golf, and he's expressing interest. He lives there, or not lives there, he works there on the disc golf course, and he's interested in playing disc golf. So in talking, I got to take him out for his first disc golf experience on Sprinkle Valley.
Nice.
Which is kind of what you're saying, like not really the ideal disc golf experience for the first timer. And we get down hole 1, and he, throws like 12 times to get to the basket or whatever. And we're like, okay, we're doing all right. In hole 2, I lose my disc. And we spend like 20 minutes looking for my disc. And dude falls down and gets caught in the briars. And he's like, oh, it's not briars, it's barbed wire. And I had to go help him pull the barbed wire out of his leg. He's like bleeding down his leg, and I'm like, dude, I understand this is your first disc golf experience. If you need to go home and like clean that up, he's like, I'm having the best time of my life, man.
Yeah.
All right.
That's classic.
All right, so we kind of wiped up his leg, and on the next hole we lost my dogs. They fell down into the creek, and
You find your man?
we couldn't get them out of it. I mean, it took us a while to get them out of the creek, and I was like, man, I swear this is not what most disc golf is like. He's like, I'm hooked, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's awesome. So, we'll bounce over to Holyn real quick. What kind of tips or like strategy can you offer people getting playing at courses like these? Because we have a lot of tight wooded courses up here everywhere. We just play in the woods. That's what we do. And then, second half of that question is, one thing that I have trouble with personally is we play all these tight wooded technical courses where it's scramble, 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 and you get kind of good at it after a while. But then you go out to like an open course, and it's like a whole different ballgame. Like, what kind of knowledge or wisdom can you offer to us, mere mortals out there?
I mean, I guess my biggest advice if you're playing, a tight wooded course is kind of just ask yourself, what are my best shots? What are the discs in my bag I feel like I can hit a gap with the most confidently? What's the discs I can throw the straightest? Not necessarily get the most distance with, but at least get the most reliable, repeatable shots with, and really try to throw those as much as possible. Because a lot of times just sticking in the fairway is going to get you the best score, more so than trying to give yourself a putt all the time. Because the less you have to scramble, one, your frustration levels will be lower and you'll play better for that reason, but also you're just going to keep the game so much more simple. And then the second part of your question, once you're going out into the open, it's a little more free form, and it can kind of be hard. You don't have anything kind of forcing you to shape shots in a certain way. But generally, if it's like a windy day, if you have a good understanding of what your discs are going to do in some different winds and kind of playing that, but also just using maybe some landmarks off in the distance to kind of serve as your shot shape assistance. So, you see a tree way off in the distance and you need to just throw a hyzer, you can use that tree to kind of be like, all right, let's start it out right of this tree. It should swing back, and kind of create lines, using stuff that's off in the distance.
So let's jump back over here. Do you guys, when you're lining up shots and everything and you're trying to hit those gaps, miss that tree, like how far down the fairway do you guys plan that out? I mean, is it like...
Until the disc's done moving.
Until the disc's out? Yeah, because for like me, I'm like, okay, well, if I can get past like the first like 100 feet, like I'm good, and then it's like all luck from there.
Let's be honest,
Yeah.
if you could just miss the tree, you'd be a lot better.
James, talk about Maine states.
I mean, one thing I kind of keep two things in mind when I'm playing tight courses, and I grew up not playing tight courses, so I had to learn this. It's still not something I'm comfortable with, but the first thing, if I have a small gap in front of me, almost every hole out here, I'm picking something in the background, and I'm just saying, I'm going to hit that. That helps me not concerned about this tree or this tree. I'm just focused on the back. Once I get through that gap, I don't really care what happens. Like, I'm not going to lace the gap perfect and then hit a tree 400 feet down there and get pissed off because I hit a tree down there. Like, I threw a good shot. It's disc golf. Sometimes you're going to keep getting through, sometimes you're not. But you can't let those ones frustrate you. And so, I think the other thing that kind of plays to my advantage is my only goal is like give myself an opportunity, throw it inside circle 2. I don't necessarily need to try to throw every hole in the bullseye. Like, I'd rather throw a decent shot and trust my putt. So I don't need to worry about being in circle 1 or throwing the perfect shot.
Nah, anything outside of 80, you're good.
Yeah, I just, if I can throw it inside 60 feet, I'm happy. I'm like, I got a chance to make the putt.
Pineland.
So
yeah.
I mean, like, he torched Pineland.
Yeah.
And I was on the bag, and it was like, he just put it through every gap, didn't really watch what it did after it went through the gap. He's like, cool, job's done, and then went on his way, and then cashed a couple 40-footers and made it the easiest. I was like, I said it to a few people. It's like, you didn't look like you were torching that course. Because it didn't look like you were doing anything special to shoot 16 down or 14, 15, whatever you shot was insane. But how you kept doing the simple things right, like shot after shot after shot, was really impressive to watch. It's like, it wasn't doing anything crazy.
I didn't
it was
throw my
simple.
way. Yeah, I think it was a 15, and I didn't throw my way to a 15 down. I putted my way to a 15 down.
But you gave yourself an opportunity on 18 holes almost. Maybe
it was
16 of 18 holes and missed
16.
one putt, maybe, and that was like a 70-footer obstructed.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about stresses of this course versus like an open course. An open course, you're like, I need to get this within 20 feet every time because there's nothing in the way.
Yeah.
On this course, you have to trust your putting within, say, 60. You need to be like, if I can just give myself chances and chances, whether they're for birdie or par, you can't be sitting there like, I'm not under it, I failed. You said, I'm giving myself a chance to execute the next shot.
Yeah, they definitely don't come easy on these wooded courses.
Obstructed 40-footers are going to be a prime place to land on this course. You're going to have probably a dozen, if not more than that, over 3 rounds.
I mean, I'll vouch for creativity is exciting. Expected result is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I land in the middle of the fairway and I have nothing but nothing in between me and the basket, I'm like, oh shit, like, I better pull this off. If I'm way out and I'm like, nobody's ever thrown this route before, they have no idea what I'm about to do, and you take like the fairway that has now become your fairway. It's nobody else's fairway, but it's yours now. That's when the 40-footer is like, oh, well, I'm making that now.
Yeah.
But when you have the perfect shot and you put it to 40 feet short, you're like, oh, I knew it. I knew I wasn't going to get it there.
It's almost harder when you're like lined up, like even on 13, where you're sitting there staring down the gap. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to throw. You just go dead straight 400 feet. You're like, give me a little bit left. I can like flex a forehand, throw a flip up, do something. But the second you're just staring straight, you're like, I'm going to try, see what I can do.
Yeah. Facing adversity is a lot more easy to believe in yourself than sometimes. I mean, that's just me. But like, when you land in the ideal of ideal landing zone, it's a lot harder to be like, oh yes, of course, I'm just going to lace this shot just like the first one. But when you're like faced with what do you want to say, impossible or improbable task, that's when you're like, these people don't know I've got this in the bag all day. And you hype yourself up rather than be like scared of, oh, well, now I better execute because I've already put myself in position.
Don't waste this tee shot.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you change your kit at all when you guys come out to a wooded course like this? Like, do you guys change your kit for every course, or like?
I think I do more than most players on tour. Like almost every single course is like 6 discs in, 6 discs out. But the one thing that, well, I wouldn't say the one thing that never changes, but Matteo recently told me that he thinks I'm the best 7-speed thrower in the world. So right now I have 7 7-speeds in my bag. And I just throw those at all costs. And if it's 400 feet, it's 7-speed hard. If it's 350 feet, it's 7-speed standstill. Sidearm, backhand, you name it.
Isn't that how you ace at USDGC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
7-speed?
Yeah, my signature disc.
7 says, what about you guys? Do you guys change your kit at all for a course like this, or do you change it every week, or how does that work for you?
I switch discs in and out a lot. And, you know, for example, on this course, you know, or going back to Champions Cup. Champions Cup, I probably had 6 destroyers in my bag. Out here,
1.
I think I have a destroyer and a wraith, you know, and that's it. I throw a destroyer on hole 2's tee shot, and that's it. And the rest is all fairways and mids. So yeah, I mean, I also, you know, will change my discs regularly, but I feel like these are the two extremes where, you know, a lot of golf courses, I'll definitely add a couple more distance drivers. And here, you know, I took out some distance drivers. I think I added 1 or 2 mids and maybe another fairway. So,
did you throw a mid at Champions Cup?
Yeah.
Did anybody here throw mid-range at Champions Cup?
I did a couple times.
Second shot on 1. Actually, on a backhand. I got far enough right to where I just threw a straight backhand.
I threw like a pitch out with a mid. When I was pinched off on a Mando. That's the only mid-range I threw all tournament.
Yeah.
So, what about you guys? How do you guys change your bag for a course like this, or how often do you change your bag?
Yeah, I mean, I have kind of a core few molds that just always stay in the bag. And honestly, most courses this year before Champions Cup, I barely threw any distance drivers because we just didn't need them yet. But like Champions Cup, you know, had to put some nukes in the bag. I had put my roller disc in the bag, but I don't usually need those on most courses. So like this weekend, probably not throwing any nukes. I might throw a forehand force a couple times, but it's going to be mostly the fairways and the mid-ranges for me. I don't change my bag a ton just because I don't have that many discs that I need to throw, but I will take, you know, the faster stuff out for wooded courses, and then I'll take the flippy stuff out for more open courses usually.
Okay. How about Eric?
My bag is pretty much the same most tournaments, and I just get really tuned in with those discs. I think the only thing that changes is weather and potential to lose discs.
Yeah.
Like water. Like it's like, oh, cool, water. Here's 2 more emperors and an extra omen that I need to like just in case, or an extra zone because I dunked mine at Champions Cup and I was like, cool, had an extra zone in the bag. Next hole I needed to throw an approach, and then it got swam out later. So I really add when I need to, and or if I'm like, this feels good, let's go try it. And then if it's like, oh, I can start using this in the bag, it'll find its way into the bag. Like, to your same standpoint, I'm bagging 6 dynasties.
Perfect.
I love it.
Love it.
Forehand, backhand, everything. I have every shot from overstable to roller, which, shut up, James, I can throw a roller.
Not with that dynasty.
No, my roller dynasties have been absolute trash lately, so it's been hilarious watching them come down and cut and run as far left as possible and never stand up. And I'm like, I can do this. Promise. It's so funny. But yeah, my bag is stays the same. I think I get maybe too in love with some of my discs.
How often do you see discs never coming off the bench from like a tournament? Like you played a whole tournament and you look in your bag and you can count how many never got thrown.
Oh, totally. Like I have 3 Pathfinders, so they never got thrown at
Champions Cup. Of course they did. It was mid-range.
But I was like, there's an opportunity that I might want a fan grip straight shot approach that a putter can't do, and I was like, I would rather it be in there than me to ever. Because I'll tell you this, I played a tournament where I didn't expect the wind and I didn't have the tools. It was a absolute nightmare, and it haunts me to this day. I do not want to ever walk into a tournament where I feel like I don't have the tools, because because of an oversight of something that I could control. Not that it's like, oh, I just don't have that disc in my repertoire. It's like, no, I have it. It just needs to be in the bag. And I don't want to ever put myself in that situation. So if I think the wind's gonna be up, cool. A couple extra stable discs, like ones that are really tanky, yeah. But then at the same time, on an open course, the mid-ranges are probably gonna stay in there just because I've been in places where I need to throw a patent pending turnover, and it's hard to do that with a fairway driver sometimes, and depending on the distance, and I feel more comfortable with the mid-range. So I just wanna have it rather than not.
Okay, so we're ranging here from like pretty solid stable bags to take out a few and put in a few, that type of thing. Matt, do you adjust your bag at all?
I can't say I adjust my bag much. As a more amateur player, bagging courses, any course, I have no idea what the course is going to throw at me, and so I'm personally not preparing for playing the same course for a tournament. I mean, I do play tournaments, but a lot of the tournaments I play are blind, and I don't even know what to expect when I go into the course. So I carry the same bag that I carried 15 years ago.
Yeah, Matt has a rock in his bag older than me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he throws it well.
James does too. James's bag is...
I bag an AVR from
James's bag
93
is
every now and
insane.
then.
My dad
Understable rock.
Oh yeah. What's that disc in your bag that's the CE disc that you were throwing? Is it a leopard?
Oh, it's a leopard, yeah.
CE leopard.
I have 2 of them in the bag.
Like the opaque, chalky, fingertippy, or pretty nice?
One's really nice. One's like a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive
Careful,
bag.
it's like 51 degrees
Maybe not
right
in
now.
all
That
of
thing
disc
could
golf,
shatter
but
this
tour
weekend.
disc golf for sure.
It won't hit a tree, don't worry.
They won't hit a tree, all right. After you just said you don't care if you hit the tree 400 feet down the fairway.
It's slow enough by that point.
Yeah,
I'm sure
all right,
it's
all right,
fine.
I'll give you that.
So yeah, I carry the same 3 rocks, the same 3 T-birds, and the same 3 Firebirds that I've been carrying for the last 15 years.
Wow, you would love my bags.
The dream bag, that's it. Just those 3. So how are you guys adjusting your strategies for this tournament with the wooded courses and the field of players that you're going to be facing? What are some of your concerns? What are some of the things you're working on? And what do you guys plan on bringing to the table?
You don't adjust for the players.
No?
It's you versus the course.
Fair enough.
You can't control what anyone else does. And I say this with that, like, every player who is showing up has every belief that this could be their tournament. Straight up.
I would hope so.
I've been on tour for 10 years. I have 0 Pro Tour wins. And if I wanted to go and boost my win tally, I'd play local events. I don't do that because I challenge myself and compete on tour. But I still believe that any one of these weekends can be my weekend. Yeah. Even if I played like ass the weekend before. I know that it doesn't matter because my skills, where I currently stand, I have every ability to win the event. And I have to believe in that. And I think most players do. So what am I going to be able to do that's going to put Casey off his game? Literally nothing. Because that becomes disingenuous, and that becomes not what this game is about. But if I go out and just shred and earn it, that's all that matters. And where we're at in disc golf is you can go and have yourself a pretty good weekend and feel really great about it and get last cash on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, very easy to do that.
It's hard. And that's okay. It's just because players are really, really good.
It feels easier to do that. It feels easier to have a weekend of golf you're very, very proud of and get last cash or one off a cash than it is to just suck all weekend. Like, because you want it so bad, so you have so many good shots and memorable moments. And I put a vlog out over the winter when I was building my van of just footage of me from D-Glow because I felt like I played a great tournament and I did not make the cut. And I'm like, here's what great golf looks like when you make no money.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the story of the video.
Yeah.
And it happens to 12 to 20 players every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't enter a tournament unless you thought you had a chance.
Of course, and that's what I just said. I would hope that they feel the way that Eric's saying that they should feel. If you don't feel like you have a chance, then you shouldn't be playing. And I would hope that every single player believes in themselves the way that I believe in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. Don't play against the player. Play against the course.
Yeah, you can't. Like if this was soccer or something like that, I know I can go and get stuck in on a challenge and maybe put a player off.
We don't have to guard anybody.
Yeah, it's literally me throwing my shots. If like, oh, Casey made a putt, that's why I missed mine. No, that's my brain being stupid and manifesting things that aren't there.
Well, when I made my putt and then I started up the ice cream truck.
Yeah, right? Dude, that would excite me. I probably couldn't putt with ice cream music going on, so I get why James missed that.
You were on lead card that day, weren't you? I thought you were.
Leader chase card 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had a good showing. I'm so excited to be back here because hit gaps, make putts, and I had bonus putts that round in round 1 to earn it. It's like that's kind of what this course I think is going to ask of you. It's like do your thing, stay within what you control, and if it ends up being good enough for the weekend, that's what it's going to take.
I totally still remember when you eagled on 10.
Yeah.
And then almost aced 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
No, I almost aced 8.
Was it? Yeah.
No,
was
9.
9. Yeah,
almost
it was
aced 9, and then hit the band on 9, and then came out to the par 4 that's the chip out, chip in. Yeah, it's new numbers. But then went sidearm spice into the bucket. So it was like, that's a good 2 holes. Yeah, so almost ace and then get an eagle. I was like, well, sweet, 3 under through 2 holes. I'm here for it. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
All right, so let's just go down the line here real quick. What is the number one thing that you could tell an amateur to help improve their game?
Oh man. There's so many things I could tell an amateur to help improve their game. I mean, I guess I feel like I've harped on it a few times, but it's just having an understanding of your strengths and weaknesses and sticking to those strengths. And then, depending on how much time you want to dedicate to practicing, getting a good base of technique is always going to set you up for success in the long run. But yeah, it's just stick to those strengths when you're competing, work on kind of the stuff that's on the edge of your comfort zone when you're practicing.
How about you, Eric? What would you recommend an amateur does to help improve their game out here?
Throw a lot. Stop scoring your rounds. Just go throw. Look at how athletes and sports teams, when they go about things, they don't play scrimmage after scrimmage after scrimmage and simulate game, only game. No, they are training. They are running plays. They are dialing in their skills. They are understanding ways to make themselves better. And some of that's through game application, but they're not scoring those games. They're going through it to make sure that they understand the system that they need to play. And I think that transfers over to disc golf immensely. If you are on a course and all you're doing is scoring, you're not learning necessarily what shots you want to be throwing. You're just throwing and then going to the next shot to throw it if it was good or bad. And it should be about understanding, and that's why we've talked about it a bunch. I know what my good shots are. I know what shots I'm going to look for. So I stay in that headspace, but that's from playing practice rounds that I'm not scoring because it's just figuring out the course. And also seeing that, like, dang, I am this dynasty on a slight hyzer forehand is really good at staying straight the whole way for this distance. And I'm like, okay, well, I can use that here, I can use that there. And that's what I'm starting to build and apply to this wide spread of my game. And then I'll carry that same information to the next event, to future tournaments. And then, I mean, how many times have you played a hole and you're like, oh, I've thrown a hole like this before, and it feels effortless. That's the type of practice we're trying to simulate with playing less scored rounds and more of those rounds like that.
Yeah, it seems as we get older in the game, there's a lot more of the same types of shots.
Yeah.
It seems very repetitive.
I have a hole in Pensacola I think about all the time when it comes to gap hitting. I say, all right, you're at hole 5 at Hitzman, and it's a dead straight tunnel shot, and it's sick. And I have to I use it for mid ranges. I throw fairways on it. I go along past it with longer fairways, but to me it simulates a lot of the gaps that I need to hit because it's a long straight tunnel that I have to keep hitting. So I go back and I'm like, yeah, we just saw hole 5 at Hitzman. So I line up on a similar spot on the tee pad, and then I go through my shot and I execute and I stay committed and remember how that feels. And so I put myself back there more than anything, and it's taking some of the brain processing out of it, because I just go back to that muscle memory and just trust.
You're next, Rob.
I know. Give me a second.
I can
Go for it if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Footwork is so underrated. My dad can throw a disc in a straight line every single time. He'll never miss a gap if he is just letting himself like just take it smooth. And then like, you know, everybody always goes, oh well, I can throw this far, but the shot is calling for a distance that I'm not capable of, and they always do like either a longer last step or a faster pace, and like having the same footwork every single time, like people never really talk about it, but that's really all it comes down to when hitting gaps. Like I have found myself with like I say, I lost my swing, and I'll look at a video of me throwing that hole from wherever and be like, where the hell were my feet? And that's when I end up finding it, and I'll hit the gap the next time because I know exactly where I started and exactly where I finished. And basically, I mean, obviously there's a lot of other things that can go wrong, but if you can get your footwork down to where, you know, you just shut off the brain and just enter your muscle memory, and it just brings you perfectly to your mini or wherever you want to finish on the tee box, like the worst you're going to do is hit that late tree, like James said, you know?
Well, and even if you hit the late tree, I mean, you've still eaten up 300 feet. Like, that's not a bad throw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's got something to be proud of. And that's like where you're saying like a tip for an amateur. If I'm talking to an amateur that's like thinking about starting to play MA1 versus MA2, or am I talking to an amateur that's like going to AmNats and going to Am Worlds and all that stuff, like aspiring to be a pro, those are two different conversations and two different like angles of attack as far as giving advice.
How so?
The person going from MA2 to MA1, it's more on Holyn's thing, just knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. Stay away from your weaknesses. Don't try and be somebody you're not. Stick to what you know. Throw the shots you throw the best. Somebody that is aspiring to be a pro, going to national amateur tournaments. If somebody beats you in a round of disc golf, don't get mad about it. Learn from it. Why did they beat you? What did they have that you didn't? Whether it's mental fortitude, whether it's a consistent sidearm, whether it's a circle 2 putt. All of those things is what showed me what I was missing, that I was able to aspire to be like the best players in Massachusetts during my time coming up.
Casey, you were a sponge.
Yeah.
You soaked up every round of golf and every bit of golf you could.
And I still
seen you back
remember
at
all.
Nantucket and then out in Mass. You were so excited and soaked in every bit of knowledge, and it shows. It's really impressive. And now you're the person who's you're kind of rinsing yourself out and spreading that knowledge to all the people you interact with too. Yeah, and you're still a sponge to this day too, because you're still learning from the people who are out. It's like it's a wonderful thing. I using the term sponge I know can be weird, but also it's a perfect analogy. You soaked it all
absolutely.
up.
My mom always used to tell me the same thing. When I would go on a trip with Castro and Chris Clemens, and I would be going with the big dogs on a road trip, she would say, be a sponge.
Love it.
That's what she would say every single time. She would tell me to be a sponge.
Your mom would be proud.
Yes, absolutely.
How about James? What do you think?
I think if you want to be a good disc golfer, you have to fall in love with putting. I think if you can become a good putter, you know, hopefully you can figure the throw out. But I think, you know, that's the easiest way to save strokes. It's the least frustrating way to play. You know, I would hate to be a good thrower and miss every 25-footer. Like, I would drive myself crazy. So, I mean, it's my favorite part of the game. You know, obviously throwing is important. Go watch Gannon or watch YouTube or something. But I think, you know, if you can fall in love with putting, if you can be confident inside the circle, you know, if you can be one of the best putters in your area, then you'll do all right.
I mean, you and Eric have been on the tour for a decade, or whatever you want to call your tour stint. Eric's been on the tour for a decade straight. How many players have you seen 550 plus, no problem, inside of 20? Never a chance, you know? Like, they come and go. No. And it's unfortunate, and you know.
Their skill ceiling is higher than most, but their floors are so low that that's what keeps them down. And then the mental fortitude, like you talked about, crumbles, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And Would I say I have the best mental fortitude? Don't ask the PDGA that, because they have different thoughts on that. But I have different thoughts on that too, but we won't go into that. Point being is that I do have good mental fortitude, and I have found ways to make myself stay in the game. Because I stopped trying to throw 550 feet. I started to understand that I'm going to put the disc exactly where I want, and I'm going to play this course for what I want. I'm doing it a lot more this year. I haven't thrown a 12-speed backhand off the tee in I don't know how long. Awesome. Because I just go 9-speed exactly where I want. Cool. Oh, I have to throw another 9-speed instead of a mid-range into the pin? Doesn't matter. I like throwing 9-speeds right now. Let's do that. Perfect. And that's the best part of this. I'm adapting to the courses. I'm not complaining or anything like that. I'm just going out and doing my best and forgetting the rest.
I dig it. All right, Robert, you're back on the hot seat.
I mean, I just want to add on, I think, because trying to play to your strengths is very, very important, and we've heard that a few times now. Whether that's James playing for his putting, anything within 60, whether that's, certain players throwing to the basket, like you see AB being like, I will get inside 40 on 18 out of 18 holes and then make 9 of them.
Let him have it. I'd say I don't care. Yep. You can't make them all.
That's right. He can't, but he's starting to. But my advice to an amateur player would be, as much as in tournament you want to play to your strengths, when you're in practice, try that shot you don't want to throw.
Yeah.
Try that shot you haven't thrown and doesn't fit the hole, but see if you can do it. See if you can flip up a forehand on that 400-foot hole. See if you can flex something. See if you can find new ways to enjoy it, new flights that you can learn.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Don't stick to what you know, because that's how it gets repetitive. And that's part of what the Pro Tour gives us, is week after week we get there and we're like, have to know my strength, have to play to it. But that's why you see amateurs having arguably more fun than we do, because they get to try a ton of different shots that we wouldn't think about, because we're like, I would never do that. That's just not worth it.
Well, I think it's something that stick to your strengths, but to bounce back for the putting thing real quick, it's something I tried to tell Jenny a while ago, is that it's the whole, putt for dough, drive for show type of thing, but how many times on tour, somebody smashes a huge, 600-foot drive and people are like, "Whoa!" But you sink a 60-footer, everybody goes nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good point. I mean, that's why I kind of say, anything Anthony Barella does at this point with a backhand drive, I'm like, of course. Mm-hmm. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nope. None of it. Oh, he outdrove hole 2 at Shelton Springs. Wouldn't be surprised. It's just for real. But then, he's got a 60-mile-an-hour headwind, 40-footer, and he's battling for the win, and he makes that, and it's like,
now we're
wow.
That's way more impressive.
Right.
Well, you can't even design courses to hold back AB, because it's just going to break the rest of the field.
Let him have it.
And it's if people have that skill, we're fine.
Yes.
I think that's just awesome to see in disc golf. Let's celebrate this as much as we possibly can. And we have had course designers that are hyper fixated on these
eagle-proofed.
Eagle-proofing, Simon-proofing holes, and it's like, stop. They have that skill set. Let them have it. Don't make this worse for the rest of the field. Stop trying to tailor to one portion of the field. That's what, low-key, no offense to it, but kind of what happens on the back nine of Declo. It's tailored towards these big throwers, and then you just have this riddled of white on the PDGA. It's just pars on pars on pars on pars on pars.
I don't even think it's tailored to them. It's tailored against them.
Yeah,
but they're the only ones that still have the perfect capability of
We need to be challenging, and that's I come back to a course like this and you might have some guys who do YouTube videos, and they might say that this course is janky and things like that, and they might not like it because they can't rip a distance driver on every single hole. And that's fine, and that's their opinion, but we're on a course that is asking a lot of us, that is asking us to change our shapes and sometimes down-tempo shots and be able to do that. I like that. I like when a course is I had a practice round with Erica Stinchcombe earlier, and she's like, I threw my backhand felt awkward, and she's like, yeah, well, you went 6 holes throwing forehands only. it's been a while since you've thrown a backhand. That makes sense that that felt awkward. Love that, because that is me having to adjust and make sure that I stay locked in, that even if it goes, oh cool, I haven't had a 35-footer all round, I'm still locked in and know how to make that 35-footer. Or I know how to throw that backhand hyzer flip, even though I haven't thrown it in 17 holes. Like, I have to be able to do that. That's what this course is asking of us. You can get really locked in on some of those bigger courses of just hyzering your way to victory. So I think that that's something really special here.
Yeah. And I mean, there's something to be said about course design on tour, being that I go all over the country, all over the world, and I tell people, you know, it's not difficult for me. I can do it with my eyes closed. 400 for hyzer. You know what's terrifying? 200-foot straight putter, because I am never ever challenged with a 200-foot straight putter.
Yeah.
However, there is one shot on tour that it decides the winner almost every year. That is hole 17 at the Preserve. We are on this playground of a golf course for an entire weekend. All weekend long, you can land the disc basically wherever you want, not in the water. You can air out the distance drivers. You can lay down the rollers. And then when it comes down to crunch time, you might have a par 5 to finish, but you have to survive a 200-foot straight putter shot with trees lining the fairway. And several people have lost,
which is like, it's pace control.
It's
and
touchy.
you haven't thrown a pace control shot maybe since you warmed up.
And almost every single year, somebody loses the tournament on that hole. The tournament is never won on hole 17, but it can be lost. And it's a thing of beauty.
Love that, Casey. That's big brain stuff, dude.
Big brain stuff.
We do a lot of driving in our...
You think? We dive into that for sure.
Well, one of the things I was going to say is that, so Shelton, there's not a lot of changes that have been made that are just for the Pro Tour. So as an amateur, it's really nice to be able to go out there and, you know, I've been watching some of your videos from the previous years, and then I can go out and play the same course too and be like, okay, so I can, you know, I can make some of those shots, I can make some different shots, but it's nice to be able to actually go out to the course and it's not much different than it is right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm always in favor of permanent courses on tour that connect the everyday player with the Pro Tour players that are only here once a year.
Look at Northwood Black. We talked about this today. It's like how once it became permanent, that the course is actually a lot more playable than it was the first year we played it.
Oh yeah,
it's like,
that first year
that's
was a
how
nightmare.
12 and 13 will be here. They'll get a little more beaten down by the foot traffic and people being excited to come and play up here. Those holes are going to get better with time, and as they add more holes, that's the same concept that's going to happen. It's that I think the courses where it can start out a little hairy, but as long as they are available to the public and they can slowly build themselves out and grow themselves in, like, it's going to make it more fun for us in the long run.
Yeah.
So part of the buzz that I'm seeing online so far from the Cascade Challenge, hardest course on the Pro Tour?
No.
Not even close. I'm sorry.
No chance.
Northwood Black.
Let's ask that question of what do we think it is?
Northwood Black.
Go on, Northwood Black?
Yeah. Not a doubt in my mind. The OG Northwood Black.
Yeah.
Not Champions Cup Northwood Black. Like OG with those with that 200-foot putter shot, 200-foot putter shot par 4 included. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that one was that hard.
But guess what? There's a log that you can't just slide it up to the landing zone. You have to float it and sink it. You know, those types of shots.
What do you think, James? You agree?
I mean, yeah, I think Tampere Disc Golf Center.
Okay, that's fair.
is
That's a
tough.
good choice. I always think the States first.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be curious to see how this plays because it's going to play harder than the years before.
I would hope so. We were shredding it before.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You look at courses like I remember last year, the only course where no one shot double digits was Florida.
Northwood Black too.
And maybe Northwood Black too.
Yeah. Hot round was 8.
Okay. And because you shot it?
No, I shot 7. Ezra shot 8. Ezra Aderhold shot 8 to make the cut in round 3.
No, that's sick. That's sick.
But like, you know, that course didn't change a whole lot, and then people are shooting like 13 under on that course this year. So it's like, you know, I don't know what the hot round was at Tampere Disc Golf Center. We played it in awful weather conditions.
I think it was 7.
Sucked so
I think it was
much.
that first day. It was Donnie, Randon Lotta, and Paul McBeth shot 7.
Yeah.
Oh, no, and then Gannon shot 9. I think Gannon shot 9.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. Exactly. Same thing as Anthony Burrell throwing far. Gannon Burr, hot round, of course he did.
Yeah,
I think
can't change it.
With this course, you know, it doesn't have necessarily a lot of the holes other than like maybe that 11, 12, 13 stretch where you're like,
you're puckered.
Yeah, and you know, I could see a lot of people taking singles, but I don't see a ton of double bogeys or triples out here. Like no tournament ruiners or even round ruiners. You know, some of the courses you see people go birdie, triple, birdie, bogey, double, triple, like, you know, all over the place. And here I feel like, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm not really worried about taking a double or a triple unless something goes super haywire. I think it's going to be a lot of just pars, single bogeys, and birdies.
Yeah.
You almost have to bring in like weather conditions because this weekend is not looking very friendly for now.
It's always possible to rain around here, bro.
But I still feel like the doubles are like double at worst. Like is probably still what you're seeing out here. Like you just have an early slip.
I mean, good for us. There are people out here that are like, I cannot triple hole 11. I cannot triple hole 11.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
And that's good confidence to have. That I feel the same way that James does. Is like as long as I'm committed to my shots, that I don't think double should be really in my mind. It can happen because it can happen on any course. And a bad kick to a bad roll to a spit out, it's like, well, that sucks.
Well, yeah, and it's also something to do with like fairness of a course.
Sure.
Like I was saying about Mill Ridge, which is not a beloved course on the tour. But I said plain and simple, black and white. The first 2 years when Simon won, I said that's because it's the most fair course on tour. Mm-hmm. Simon didn't get unlucky, and he's the unluckiest player I know.
Yeah.
And that's why he won. And that's why he didn't win this year, because he couldn't get lucky and win.
Yeah.
It was earned by whoever was going to shoot the best, and there was nothing disputing it other than whoever shot the best was going to win. And I feel like Champions Cup was the exact same way. There is OB all over that course, and when you look at the stats for the full tournament, like half the tournament didn't take a double bogey. I went OB twice on the same hole, and I did not take a double bogey.
Yeah.
It's weird how it happens, but like a course like this, where it is like the, you know, early tree on 11 kicking left, or whatever, 12, the new par 5.
Oh,
that
12,
hole,
yeah.
that's a triple bogey in a second. But depends on who we're talking about here. Are we talking about the people on lead card after round 1? Probably not.
Yeah, but in the field for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So Rob, what's the hardest course you think? You agree with Northwood Black?
No, not even close. I think
he got top 10 there last year, just so you know.
I don't think it's hard.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, Northwood Black has stayed the same for enough years on tour to where even if they revert it back, I mean, I don't think any shots there are tight enough to where you're sitting there like, I need to really like laser focus in and make sure I hit this gap.
Okay, so just on
You
a
should
side
be in
tangent.
my mind when I play that course.
I think Maple Hill.
Nevin or Northwood Black? Which one do you
I've
think is
never
harder?
played Nevin.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you.
Nevin's so good. That course is hard.
Yeah, that one, I think it's equal. I think those two are equal. But Maple Hill, I'll give you that because big numbers are everywhere.
Yeah, that's where I give it. I think Maple simply for you can take a triple before you're even like, wow, I'm sitting 5.
It's possible to take a triple in the birdie stretch at Maple Hill, which in my opinion is 2 through 5.
Yeah.
Like there are triple holes on that course.
100%.
Everywhere.
But I think that, and I also think Tampere over in Europe is one of the hardest ones.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your Holyn?
I think
about,
fairness,
because you have a different
Tampere's great.
perspective here, right?
Yeah, because I mean, obviously our
Right.
layouts we play the same courses, but we kind of don't in
Yeah.
a way.
No, we don't.
I don't think this course this week is up there for me for hardest because there are holes that are hard. Maybe some of the hardest we play on tour. I think maybe 12 and 13 would be up there, but then there's also a lot of holes, like you guys said, like you're just not going to do worse than a bogey. We even have a pretty soft par 5 with hole 2. I kind of forgot it was a par 5, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I think Northwood Black would be up there because it requires some touch in some places, and you have holes where everyone is having to throw slower discs, not just the bigger arms. Because I think with FPO and kind of the challenge with our course design is the skill gap between the top and bottom of the field is so much bigger.
With disc choices and disc, like for longer shots, like you or Ella can often just go to a mid-range where most of the rest of the field is always throwing a fairway, if not a distance driver.
Yeah, and you've got some people like the hole 18 at Springle Valley was so controversial because there's some women who played that tournament who cannot do that shot if it's windy, like period. And you just don't have that ever happen in the MPO side. I almost throw Idlewild in the mix a little bit just because there's a lot of randomness to it.
Good randomness or bad randomness in your opinion?
I think bad.
Oh, come on.
I'm not a huge fan of just having OB rivers.
Yeah, no, that's
hole 17's not a good hole. What? Now, all of this being said, don't fall into the trap of trying to make this the hardest. You're gonna ruin it. Like this course, it's not by any means. It's not one of the easiest courses on tour.
No,
you're not gonna shoot. You're not gonna need to shoot 33 under in 3 rounds to win out here.
No.
But I feel like a lot of times course designers and TDs fall into the trap of we got to make it harder. We got to challenge them
harder. Ropes.
They don't want to see
weird rules. Hey, how do you want to read this full paragraph? And there's this side note that we had to add because the rules were so confusing for everybody that the starter notes. Stop doing that. Make the game simple. The course here is simple, but it's a solvable puzzle. And I say simple, but it's a hard simple because you just got to go do, and it doesn't need arbitrary rules to make the course better.
Or OB. I think OB in the woods. I was just about to say, one thing that Shelton does really well is make me play from Narnia.
Yes.
Yeah. If I go to Narnia, I deserve to throw my next shot from Narnia.
Yes.
I don't just get rewarded with a fairway drop.
Yeah.
Because that's
which
how it works.
Narnia are we talking about here?
I mean, there are many.
Depends which tree he hits 400 feet down the fairway.
I mean, I think about like somebody hitting first available on the hyzer on 15, I think, or 16.
Yeah.
16?
16.
Yeah. If somebody were to kick right, like in most events, that would just all be out of bounds. Like, everything on the right is just out of bounds. And then they'd just like have a decision made for them. But like, first of all, now we have to find the disc.
Yeah.
And that's a whole project. And like, that's a demoralizing thing sometimes. And like, it's all part of the game. And like, I know people who would literally just hit that tree and like, if it was OB, they wouldn't even look for it.
Yeah.
But we have to look for it now because it's in play. And I love that.
Well, to tack on to that, it's like we end up with these places that are adding strokes without even giving us the opportunity. And I tend to not like that because it takes away from skill expression. It takes away from the scramble shots that we've learned to throw. I often said in my clinics, it's like somebody asked me, it's like, you didn't tell us about overhands. And I was like, well, here's the thing. I don't want to teach you how to throw overhands because I'm teaching you to not have to throw them because you ended up in a bad position. Because unless you're Jake Wolf or somebody like that who leans on it, Jared Stoll, it's like, awesome, do that. That's a part of your skill set, and you can figure that out. I'm not going to be the one to teach you that because I only use it when I need to. So I want to see more courses allowing for our skill expression, not only off the tee, but in the adverse situations come out. Shelton does that. And I have to use this as an example. Northwood Black does that. D-Glow Back 9 does not do that. It just roped everything and took away scrambling from everybody. So now it just turns to a weird place of who's chipping their way in bounds down the stretch, and that doesn't feel good. We're not seeing our skills come out in the best ways they could be. There's a skill is still being asked of us. But I think it's not, and I might speak for everybody, it's not the most fun way to play the game either, is to be chipping our way through a course. I want to be playing the course and trusting the shots that I throw, and I want to go out with the gas pedal down, and then I want to go earn it in that way, not have some rules take the gas pedal away from me. And I think that's far too often that happens.
I think you touched on something there that I was kind of toying with my own mind is, do you feel like they maybe make some of these, like you were saying, just chip outs and things like that? Do you think they do that maybe so it looks better like on TV type of thing and kind of artificially kind of,
Maybe. That might be part of it, and it could be speed of play things, but I think we're at a level of if we actually call people on time and we keep to our 30 seconds, somebody going in the woods, they have 30 seconds, they need to figure out their shot and get it done, and if they don't, they get a penalty for it. So I think that there might be the caveats of that, of speed of play. And, you know, I think having OBs sometimes requires more spotters, which requires more volunteers, because then we need to know where we went out of bounds, that kind of stuff. And we're playing a lot of blind shots to some OBs. We can get an idea, but in reality, we're still guessing. And it's just, there are positives and negatives, and there are easy ways to look at it from both sides. I just think, I think more skill expression is needed right now. And I'll stand on that. So when we take that away, where it's just straight into OB, we don't get to express our skill because we're back in the fairway throwing a shot that we're probably good enough for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like I hate to say it, but like in ball golf, if you go OB, you're still in the stuff, right? You bring it back in bounds, you take your drop, you're still in the stuff. In disc golf, you go OB and you bring it back in bounds, like you said, you're in the fairway. Like you have a clear-ish shot. I mean, with probably decent footing, too.
Yeah, most likely.
The only way that we could even come close to formulating that was like really high grass. And then it would be like, you know, like absurdly high grass because we do not.
And then good luck finding discs at that point.
Right. So it doesn't really work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This course had that 2 years ago with those yellow bushes.
Yeah.
On hole 2.
Yeah,
if you
Scotch
pushed
broom.
it too long off the tee, you didn't get a run-up. It was a natural bunker that you had to throw as stance. I've heard that. I've heard that they are invasive, so that is a bummer why they needed to be cut. But that brought to mind of what could we do to create that kind of stuff to where if you throw it into this spot, the footing is awful to a point where you won't be able to have a run-up, or we change the rules. And I've had this theory, and I'll like as a hazard rules goes to being more like you have to throw a standstill from this area. No penalty, but you have to throw a standstill.
Like a bunker.
Yes. So you can't ground your
club.
Yes, you cannot run up. So that creates a skill expression of you now need to learn how to throw standstill backhand, standstill forehands, and be able to do those and execute a 350-foot shot from a standstill. That becomes something that we now as players have to adapt and work on. And now you're able to make use of areas, not by just giving a stroke. This isn't Oprah where you get a stroke and you get a stroke. Everybody gets a stroke. No, we get to go earn our strokes for our play and the decisions we make and the shots and the skills that we have.
I mean, as somebody who loves to throw standstills, I'm not going to argue with that rule. But segueing back to what tip I'd give to an amateur player, strengths and weaknesses, a standstill used to be the weakest part of my game, and I built it up to be the strongest part of my game.
Heck yeah.
And I've done that with several of what I would now call strengths in my game, is they were originally a weakness, and that's why they're a strength now. And like, I pride myself on not really having strengths. I feel like all of my shots are just equally good enough for the Pro Tour, and I'm confident enough in every angle and every speed and all those things. It's just like shooter's choice at every single tee box and every single lie. And putting too. I can putt on Annie, I can putt on Heiser, I can push putt, spin putt, whatever. It's just like being able to attack whatever shot is in front of me, however I want to express myself.
Build your toolbox.
Yeah.
Have a plethora of tools.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
Be proud of the shots you throw. Don't do it because you feel like Nate Heinold told you had to.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it because Casey White told me I had to.
Yeah, good. All right. That's better.
I was going to say, one of the things I hear you guys saying is the creativity in disc golf. And one of the things I really loved when we made the course for Chief Kitsap, and we were able to take the kids around any time, is just watching the different ways that they would throw. Like, they would come up with some of the most creative ways to get a disc into the basket. And it's like, how did that even work? Like, that creativity makes the game fun for the rest of us.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back over here. Matt, what do you think the winning score this weekend's going to be? MPO, FPO?
Hard to say.
I'm going to say, because I have no idea, I'm going to go 22 for MPO.
All right. Sweet. Easy weekend.
So it's cash, like 4? I can do that.
Maybe. With the conditions, it might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
See it.
and 11 for FPO.
Okay, considering I have absolutely no idea what the FPO layout, what do you think about that?
I think 11's pretty good. I would have gone maybe 13.
Okay, but same ballpark at least.
I could see like about 7 maybe being the hot round.
Okay.
And then slowing down, so that person maybe getting a couple 3s or 4s after that.
Sure.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
I had a conversation, homie over there, long hair, about what we thought the hot round would be.
Shout out to long hair homie in the corner.
Yeah, we said 24-ish. Is like I feel like
19?
Because I feel like 27 I think would be hot if it was good conditions.
Perfect conditions, yeah.
And I think that's like because that's 3 9s, but you're not going to do it 3 9s. You're going to do it in a couple ways. You're going to shoot 10. You're going to shoot, you're going to shoot a 9, and then you're going to then you go down. You're just like you're not going to keep that going. And then with the conditions, that's why I think 24 feels pretty good because then again you're going to have one good hot round and then you're going to tailor off, and that would be still pretty sick to get there to go 3/8 in that average. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. I do think 21 to 22 could also be there if the weather ends up being not favorable for us in that way.
Well, the thing about Shelton, and this is where the gals have a bit of advantage over you guys, is in the morning it's usually pretty calm as far as wind goes and everything.
Wind ramps up.
Yep, and then in the afternoon it gets up 15, 20
Crazy.
consistently.
Yeah.
And the rain is not so bad in the trees.
You might want to talk to the tournament director and get an earlier tee time.
Yeah, right.
What do you think, Robert? What's going to be the winning score this weekend?
I think Eric was about right. I think the field usually overshoots whatever we think it's going to be, so I'll actually bump it up. In my head, I thought 25 would be just about right. I think whoever's going to win will shoot 10 to 12 probably on their best day, whatever that is, whether they deal with rain well, whether they deal with anything else well. I think they're going to shoot 10 to 12, and then I think they'll shoot somewhere between 6 and 10 twice. And their 6 could just be a bad day, and then they get back on that train. They could shoot a couple like 7/8s. They could somehow they're going to find a way to 25, and I think it's going to come from one really hot round and then playing consistently well for 2 rounds.
Yeah.
You feeling the same way, James?
Yeah, I mean, I thinking about it, and the numbers that we're at, I also feel like this it could be an event where there's 3 to 4 guys who are within a stroke or 2 coming down. Like, I think this could be an exciting one.
Like real tight.
I don't see someone running away. But yeah, I think 24, 25 is a good number. I'll go 23 just to keep it exciting. And then, yeah, maybe 14, 15 for the FPO.
Yeah, I think 15 is right. 15's about right.
I can't even give a guess for the FPO. I literally don't even know what the course looks like until I'm watching tomorrow morning.
That's fair.
Ella said that she was going to shoot one better than Holyn, so I don't know what.
So then what are you shooting?
She says that a lot.
That's all you need.
Man, I've been waiting. I've been waiting since Florida for her to
Nice.
What do you think?
The tour surprises me every freaking week, man. I think the winner is going to be 30 plus. I swear to God,
Awesome.
I think this course is going to get annihilated this weekend, one way or another. Tight race, runaway. There's been some weeks where I'm like, whew, this is a tough course. Best score is not going to be hot. They torch it. 10 people torch it.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
It's
I'm
possible.
telling you. I will not be surprised when the winner is better than 30.
How much do you guys feel that the trees are going to be a factor?
The trees?
Yeah.
What trees?
There's lots of them.
There's lots of them. Bring it on.
For the guy that wins, not a whole lot.
None.
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
Not a single one.
Or they love him. The trees love him so much.
The ones by the basket exist, but like none of the other ones do.
What's our tea time tomorrow?
2:40.
1:50.
110.
I'm at 1 on the dot.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Thank you.
Early tea time of the group.
Late as possible, though, for me.
I gotta be there at 7:30 to vend.
Wow.
Nice.
It's an early tea
for
time.
me.
Yeah, we got to be there at 8 to volunteer.
What hole? Or what are you doing for volunteering?
We're scorekeeping.
Scorekeeping. Cool.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
150.
Yeah, I'll see
Well,
what our time is.
usually the way it goes for us is we get there early and we do one round and then somebody doesn't show up and we do the next round and the next round. And it would be, usually we do 3 to 4 rounds in a day.
Oh my God.
We just do the marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we get 20 minutes for a lunch.
I was about to say lunch or.
Nah, we don't eat.
He's gonna be walking down hole 1 with you with a sandwich, like, oh, it's my lunch break, dude.
Fair enough.
Right. Well, the hot dog guys set it right outside the unicorn zoo. So.
Awesome.
You guys know about the unicorn zoo, don't you?
I absolutely have no idea
It's
what
like
you're talking
the mythical creatures of disc golf, and you guys have that nice little caged-in area where you guys can putt.
Oh yeah, so
practice area where everybody
he calls
spectates
the
us.
practice
It's the
area the
unicorn zoo.
unicorn pen. Yeah.
All you disc golf
Zoo.
unicorns
Got me
out
excited
there.
for nothing.
But I am gonna say
I literally thought we were gonna have a horse out there with a freaking horn and sparkles and everything.
there might still be some mini mermaids that are about this big still on the course. We
Love
did
it.
77 at our tournament 2 weeks ago.
Love it.
So there
It's
might
something-
still be some mermaids.
Something to
find.
do while waiting on the TF12, yeah.
You get to punch your bingo card if you find
Yeah.
one. Yeah. That's been a big hit, is the disc golf bingo.
Yeah. Have you guys played disc golf
We need-
bingo?
I don't think so.
We need to do that on the pro tour now.
So we run disc golf bingo at our tournament, and so like if you go into a hazard, you get a bingo. If you land on top, if you mark your
Right.
scorecard, and then you guys.
And everybody has different boards, or everybody has the
No,
same
everyone
board?
has the same board,
Okay.
so that everyone is challenged. Like so, like for the women's event, if you go
Yeah.
in the hazard, it's like, but I get a bingo.
Yeah, and you're on the last hole, and you're like, well, if I throw this out of bounds, I got bingo.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like that. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right, sweet.
So, what's everybody's favorite part of the course?
What was the question?
What's everybody's favorite part
Big
of the course?
trees. I like big trees. Can't
How
lie.
fast it plays. I've never played faster practice rounds.
Yeah, it's
Really?
it's playing fast, which is a lot of fun. You get through it quickly, or it feels quickly, even if it's not actually fast.
Just
Yeah.
like shot.
Yeah, and like
It's just shorter holes, shorter walking. You know, like some of the courses we play, you know, the par 4s are 800, 900 feet, and then you're walking 600 feet to get the next tee pad. And, you know, this, I mean, we were playing our practice rounds in like 2 hours, and then it
Yeah,
happened.
but I'll also argue this point. We were just playing all week, and this is a tournament that the bottom of the field is weekend warriors, so they're all practicing today. So we had kind of like the course to ourselves as like the 90 to 100 of us, where usually it's 200 of us practicing every single day, you know what I mean? So,
Gotcha.
yeah. That's kind of how I saw it, at least. I was
Yeah.
like, this course is empty. The tee time sheet is empty.
Yeah.
tea time sheet was empty.
That's
I
when,
was
that's
like,
how. That's
wow.
when I was like, oh, all these other players don't know about the tee time sheet. It's just us going out here for these days, and they're coming out Thursday,
Yeah.
taking the
that's
weekend
true.
off.
That's true.
I wanted to bounce over here to Holyn real quick. Something that I saw of yours that I really like is you're talking about how to maximize your practice. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was something that I got it because when I first started, I was working a full-time job and only had maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day to go practice. But it kind of comes down to just first having a plan. So knowing, what do I need to work on, and you can get that through doing some video review, getting a lesson, going to a clinic. But having an idea of just one thing that you're going to work on, knowing the drills you're going to do, and having time carved out for it. Having your discs and your clothes and all of that stuff set up for after work, just so that you can get going quickly, and then you're not just out in the field kind of throwing without a plan and not really getting any better.
What do you do to maximize your practice routine, Eric?
Use at least one of the rounds to just be on the course, absorb, see shots, understand it, and then from there it's really dialing in everything I want to be doing. Whether I'm taking notes of checking my shoulders, staying in my throw to make sure I hit the gap, lining up in a specific way, picking out a structure, like I slowly build it up in that way to where there becomes a purpose to the practice round of understanding, today even I used a reference of shortening up my sidearm so where I'm not overthrowing it, like my run up on my sidearm, so it's just a quick two-step and hitting it through a gap rather than doing like kind of a full run up sidearm and I pull it to the left and bring trees into play. So that's the stuff that I'm trying to figure out and make sure I dial in. I've noticed a lot of my preparation has been the biggest boost to my game. I was going off of feel a lot in the last few years, and this year it has been just, I have my game plan, I stick to it, I play boring golf, and I let it work, and I played very consistent. I haven't gotten as hot as I would like, but my consistency has put me in a really good place to find success, and I'm going to keep riding that wave, because when I hit the jackpot or hit my bingo and go super hot for a round, it's gonna show, and then most of it's gonna show because of that preparation I put in with my practice.
Love that.
Yeah, man.
Love it. Robert?
I mean, almost in comparison to like where Eric said he takes one round to just be on the course. For me, I have to take one round very specifically where I'm playing alone on the course and I'm just going through every hole and just figuring out my play. Whether that's I'm throwing 5 shots on a hole or I just need to throw 1, and I just throw it and I'm like, yep, doesn't matter what the wind is, I'll just adjust on stability, I'm doing that. Doesn't matter. I just need one round where I'm alone, where I have nothing else to think about but myself and the course and how I want to do it.
Be one with the course.
Mm-hmm.
May the course be with you.
That's right. Here, we got a button for that. All right, how about you, James? What do you do to maximize your practice preparation?
I'm not the best person to.
Yeah. James is like show up,
I kind of
be there on time for his tee time round 1.
I put my socks on.
I flew in on Wednesday. I played my match. I mean, I hate to say this, it sounds bad. I just kind of rely on my past experiences, learning courses and throwing, and it's pretty intuitive for me to know how I want to approach holes. And I keep it really simple. Like I said before, when I get to a course like this, here's the first gap, here's the initial gap, here's my high percentage shot. That's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll worry about what happens later. But I don't know. I've never been one to really grind hard and play a lot of rounds and throw all the shots. I just kind of roll with the flow.
My man.
All right, Casey, what do you do to maximize your practice and preparation?
I mean, I typically say I don't think anybody practices the way I do. I definitely don't practice like James, but I also definitely don't practice like the people he's talking about, all the reps, whatever. I do a pretty unique approach, similar to Eric, though. First round is just figure out what I want to do. This is what I want to do. It doesn't matter who I'm playing with or whatever. They can do whatever they want to do. They can throw as many shots as they want to know. I'm going to adjust angles, adjust speeds, adjust power, whatever, sidearm, backhand, you name it. And then I'm going to go into my next practice round every single hole and say, that's my play. That's what I'm going to refine tomorrow. And then I throw in the curveball and I take those discs that I've decided no matter what, I'm throwing this disc on this hole, and then I smoke the first tree with it. So then when I get to the first round, I'm truly disciplined, and I'm you're not taking this for granted, you're dialing it in. You're going to take this shot seriously. You're not going to miss this gap again.
You smoke it on purpose?
Well, it just happens because it's practice. Because basically what I'm trying to say is that I am not the same person in practice. I never will be that I am in tournament. Because in practice, I have no punishment ever, except for losing my favorite discs. That's the only thing that can really hurt me. But I'm just saying it's not a bad thing if I take this is going to be the disc I'm going to be most confident in on Friday when I step on this hole, and then give myself a reality check and be whoa, that didn't really work out. So then on Friday, I am ultra focused, ultra disciplined, not going to let this one slip and just say, oh, I'm just going to chuck it and really who cares? I'm going to really dial it in. Love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome. Well, how do you guys feel about doing a little Q&A real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
Q&A?
Let's do it.
Q&A? Having some people come up and ask some questions?
Jace, do you have some questions?
All right. Does anybody want to come up and ask some questions of our panel here?
Jake?
Jace?
Oh, no. Casey, we have a mic.
No, he wants to wear this.
No, we got one right here, Jace.
No. No, he's fine. He can come right here.
I forgot about that mic.
There you go, Jace.
There you go, Jace.
How do you putt better? How do you putt good?
You putt good, James?
James?
I'm gonna give it
We
to
would
you.
all like to know, James, actually.
Yeah, James, we're.
I gave a tip to somebody recently that they actually thanked me for, which I don't really give tips. I don't think that my formula works for most players, but I say use your back leg. All of my power comes from my back leg, and that's it.
So use your back leg?
Yeah. The weight transfer.
Push off your back leg.
I think, starting with a little bit wider of a stance, sitting your butt down as opposed to like leaning back, and I'm not a huge fan of the rock. Sit down, engage both legs, and then really just extend forward. It's all repetition, but there's no one right, perfect way to putt. I think just practice, reps, and a lot of putting is up here. So whatever you can tell yourself up here to give you confidence, do that and do that every single time. Whether I'm putting an 8-footer or a 60-footer, I tell myself the same two things. The last things that go through my head before I putt is trust yourself and open your hand. And that allows me to confidently extend towards the basket. Just whatever you can tell yourself up here to keep the confidence high, do that.
Love it.
How do you throw really good?
How do you do what? Okay.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Does anybody
Nice
else
job,
want
buddy.
to ask some questions?
Oh, yeah.
Come on up.
Who's this beautiful girl?
What did you get me for my birthday?
Holyn, I have a question for you. Oh, wow. So I was going to ask you how you balance like your practice days with your workout. Like you go to the gym and like obviously it's taxing to be on the course. It's physically taxing. So really, how do you balance that? And like what's your workout regime while you're practicing for a tournament?
Yeah, so the workouts that I'm able to do during season are a lot different than off season because obviously practice is super taxing and I can't afford to be super fatigued going into the weekend. So I usually do mine in the morning. They're usually pretty short and I keep the volume a little bit lower so it's just less fatiguing overall. And then I know like certain muscle groups will recover slower than others and I try to hit those earlier in the week. And then so I'm sore earlier in the week, maybe on travel day when it doesn't matter. And then by the time I get to Friday, I'm like completely recovered.
Okay, and what are those slower recovery muscle groups?
Usually the bigger ones, so like legs, sometimes like back will
So you'll
recover
hit
a little
those like
slower.
earlier in the week, like
I'll hit those like
Mondays,
Sunday
like
night
okay,
a lot of
Sundays,
times.
yeah.
And then Monday I'm just in the car all day so I can be sore. And then I might
Gotcha.
be a little sore still on Tuesday, but that's
Yeah.
usually when I'll hit like back. And then Wednesday I'll hit like, chest and smaller muscles. Then I might do some like really small muscles on Thursday because those just don't get sore.
Very cool. Thank you.
All right. Did you guys have some questions back there? Come on up.
Yeah.
I've been struggling with grip on the disc lately. I keep dropping my pinky. I drop the pinky, and then now I'm starting to drop the other finger, and then I come out with earthy releases. Is that common?
Talk to the goose, man. He's got the two-finger
Yeah, he throws
blaster.
like that.
Does he blast it?
That guy throws 500 feet, no problem on either.
I've been like struggling with the grip.
I think grip is all feel. I know 3-finger, 4-finger, 2-finger, you name it.
Yeah.
Focus.
Gibson throws a 3-finger.
Yeah,
Marky
adjust
Chap
and
does too.
put pressure in a different place.
I know I have it for. I think
Put
on
pressure in
that-
different places. It's like try and move it around to put pressure in. Because my pinky used to come off.
My pinky seems to get in the way, and then I've been finding myself, okay, the pinky's in the way, and this finger's in the way, so then I drop it too.
Like power grip?
And then they come out early though.
Maybe, and it could just be, just adjust with it, and also don't think about it.
Grip is so weird because here, hold this. Everybody's hands are different. I don't grip a disc the same way Gannon-Burr grips a disc, and like Kyle Klein has smaller hands than I do. Like it doesn't compute the same
that in
way.
there.
So the way you're gripping the disc right now, the first thing I would tell you is to move your thumb about a half inch to an inch in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I've been trying to get for more pop too.
It's mostly.
Trying to press down more on the drivers and like get that pop out of the hand. Like.
Yeah, that's your buddy's disc.
Love it.
You can keep it if you want.
Good question.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions they want to ask?
No,
All
we got
right.
one. Yep.
Yes, please.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Holyn, I was watching you throw while I was protecting Jeff's truck and installing that axe in the tree.
Oh yeah, that axe
You guys
looks
see the
sick.
axe?
Yeah,
I did actually.
That's my
So
axe.
sick.
Nice.
Nice.
Anyways,
Thank you.
really impressed by your forehand And I've been working on my forehand for years, and I'm like doing this, and then I give up on it because I feel like I can get away with a lot of turnovers for Sheldon. But then I saw you throw those lines, and I'm like, maybe I need to work on it. And Eric, you've done incredible forehand as well.
Thank you.
Just give me a couple pointers. Let's go. I've just switched over to like this, and I know I need to point, but what do you got?
Yeah, so looking at you right there, make sure your fingers are pressing more into the rim of the disc rather than the top of the disc. Because if you see like this motion versus this motion, this is way more powerful. So number one, get your grip so you're like this. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And then what I would do is just take a stack of discs in your backyard, doesn't matter what discs they are, and then just work on this little wrist pop. All right?
Because back, like, honestly, how I started with forehand is with one finger, and it was more, and like, with one finger from here to that car over there, I can hit a 6-foot gap. It's really accurate. But if I want to throw a 330-foot drive, one finger's not doing it.
Usually you want to, but if you can work on that.
You got it?
Some of the most lethal forehand players on tour, one finger. Gavin Babcock.
He does kind of back it up, though. He uses his other fingers to kind of provide a little support. I was looking because it's tough. But he does do a very good one finger grip. But you work on that snap.
I'll give you Marwe's.
And what you're doing is if you're still getting wobble, and you're getting wobble from here, you know it's something to do with the grip. And then once you get the grip dialed in and it's not wobbling, add a little tiny reach back. And then if it's not wobbling, you can add a little bit more of a reach back, and you're just slowly adding distance, and you're also able to diagnose and get rid of that wobble along the way.
Yeah, because I've seen the little power thing with the
the sexting
the
grip.
Power grip. Yeah.
So I just need that, not this. Okay, cool.
Yeah. When I switched my grip, so I was one fingy originally. Then I switched to that stacked grip, but that only stuck around for putters and mids.
Okay.
And mids, I can switch it up, but I switched to the sexting grip, which is like my fingertips are facing the target. They're not facing the sky.
Okay.
And that's just like the middle finger with just a little bit of extra leverage, but both of my fingers are putting all of their force into the direct line of the shot.
Yeah.
It was like the easiest 30 feet of distance I ever gained on a sidearm.
Yeah,
and then with the reach back, that was a really good tip. Like don't just go way behind your ear on the first go. You got to start small and then slowly reach Albert Tom status.
Because I feel like I had a really good feel for it with the one finger, but then I was like, I need more power, so I switched to two, and then I started like turning things. And
Okay, so if I can give you any advice,
they can stay.
Don't lose the one finger for your touch shots.
Yeah, no, from here to the truck,
Keep that.
It's one finger buzz all day.
Yeah, keep that.
Yeah.
And then work on a new part of your game.
Thing. Yeah.
Don't throw it away and leave it in the past.
Yeah. Okay.
You might like a little bit of a sextant grip because it's basically a one fingy
But with
the
the
middle
extra
finger
leverage.
reinforced. Yeah, it's that.
Just boost up what I'm doing.
It's do your one fingy and then stack the middle finger on top of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I used to.
Cheers.
I used to like only do
Well,
this
thanks for coming out
drivers.
to the course. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Kyle, thank you.
Broderick, you got a question?
I mean, I used to like.
How to not hit the first available on hole 16?
Like I had to make sure I was like.
Sorry, 14.
And now I'm playing for long enough to where I'm like, I can go back to my normal.
We go back to Jace again? Okay, you got one more.
Oh, he's going for the mic. No, he's going for it.
All right.
So this is for James. Every time you film it in the bag, it's like a completely different bag. Not just bag like the discs, but I like it because I like a lot of the old school discs too. But as a player who clearly likes like old Innova, disc wrap, whatever it is, two different kind of questions. What percentage of like the discs you've thrown in your touring career do you think are stuff you've just had since you were a kid or acquired from like maybe collectors versus the allotments that you've gotten from companies? Like, you know, kind of where's that line? And then like you throw like C, T-birds, leopards, all that. What is your thought between like, do you actually think the C leopard is better than just a good leopard from nowadays? Or is it more of like, it's just cooler and like has that nostalgic feeling? Because like I throw these 20-year-old Firebirds and they're my favorite, but I don't really like a new Firebird just because it's like, I think it's worse, but I also think it's not as cool.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
I mean, the first question, to be honest, like in my contracts, I don't even know what my allotment is. I've never been, well, I've been to the Infinite Warehouse one time, but I don't really collect allotment, I guess. Like I'll text, be like, hey, can I get 4 of these or whatever? But a lot of what I throw is stuff I've had for a long time. And to be honest, for me, it's sort of a feel thing. Like I like the way my 11-time rocks feel. I like the way the older leopards, the T-birds feel. A lot of them are super seasoned in, and I'm a hyzer flip guy. So like some new leopards I've thrown, I'll throw a hyzer flip and they just fade left. And I'm like, this is useless. What is this? You know, I like that late flip up that only happens when you beat a disc in for 8 years. So, I mean, I was very fortunate growing up in Northern California. That's a lot of old Innova territory. So, you know, I've had access to a lot of good old destroyers, Firebirds, Leopards, T-Birds, Rocks, you know, and it's just kind of what I grew up throwing. They're comfortable in my hand. You know, I have 2 C Leopards, 3 old T-Birds, and 4 T-Birds, and an 11-time Firebird, and that's like all I throw on this course. And it's just a comfort thing for me. But yeah, if I did it in the bag this week, it would be a lot of new discs that you guys haven't seen yet. It's just fun for me. Like I'll go home and I'll be like, oh wow, I haven't thrown this one in a while, and I'll just pull out of the stack and add a couple in and take a couple out and just always kind of switching them in and out.
That's what I do on my off week.
Yeah.
But then when I get to the tournament, I'm like, this is the same disc I was throwing here 2 years ago. And like I'll go to whatever course, like GMC. I've been throwing the same disc on the upshot of hole 7 for 4 or 5 years because that's as long as I've been on Discmania. And like, those are the things I take pride in. It's funny that you're just like, new bag.
Yep. I mean,
do you think like all these discs, like you're like, oh, I haven't thrown that in a couple of years. Do you kind of like remember enough? Like I know how this throws. I throw the same. So like, it's not like learning a new disc, or is it? Because I think it's kind of cool how, you know, when like players switch bags, everyone like gives them like a whole season to be like, oh well, like he switched 6 months ago, whereas like you switch every week. You know what I mean? They're like giving players excuses for the whole season to like play bad because they got a new bag, but then like James Proctor has a new bag every month.
Yeah,
but you obviously like know the discs, like they're.
It's still a destroyer,
but
and it's still.
You know, but I'm like, I don't know.
I kind of did that today. Like I was playing the match, I put 2 11-time rocks in the bag. I had no idea how they were gonna fly. I'm like, oh, these will probably work in the woods, and you know, I threw one, and it was more stable than I thought it would be, and I got kind of excited by that. It's actually gonna be perfect for one of the holes. But most of the time, yeah, I know exactly how they're going to fly, or I can remember. Very rarely do discs surprise me when I'm doing that old switching in and out. But yeah, I mean, throwing a new bag, like most of the discs we can find, we can handpick, cherry pick the good ones. We can get them from players who were on the team before, and we kind of know how they're going to fly. I think the hardest part about that is just the difference between how a seasoned disc flies versus a new disc. Like if your whole bag is just straight new discs out the box, it's going to be harder to find those like hyzer flip ups, those really straight pushing discs.
It's like the ones that flip up to flat and don't turn versus roller. Like those are like the hardest ones to get that in between.
Yeah.
The drift. Yeah. It like gets up and then it's like,
and that's
melts,
the thing, you know, like about some of the old leopards. Like it's hard to find leopards now that a lot of them are either too stable where they're just dead straight, or they'll just kind of burn. But they don't really drift like a lot of older, and same thing with the rocks. Like nothing drifts like an 11-time rock does.
You know what I respect though?
Yeah.
That's kind of why I asked, because like I see you throwing it, I'm like, I'm the same. Like I'll throw like the same star rate that I've had for.
He's a Buzz SS guy.
Super beat. Like everyone thinks like my bag's like stable, but like no, I'm throwing everything on 20%.
Yeah.
Vertical. I like that you didn't hit the field with those rocks. You just took it right to the course and was like, oh, it's going to work perfect for that hole.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like I've thrown enough 11-time rocks. I know how that's going to fly.
One of them is going to work good.
I love that.
Jace has one more question for us.
Hit it.
How do you forehand really good?
Really good.
Don't look at me, bud.
Simplify it. Make it as simple as possible. As Eric was saying, he said he switched to like a 1 or 2 step just to make sure he got the timing right, because all disc golf is timing on any throw, forehands especially.
I think avoid the trap of starting with an overstable disc. Like learn how to forehand your straight stuff, and you just won't have to work as hard.
So forehand, your
If forehand like a Roadrunner or something.
Yeah, get something understable.
There you
I mean, start with what, like a Mako
Glitch.
3?
If you can forehand a glitch, you're already on your way,
on the
buddy.
right track,
Oh, wow,
man.
yeah. That's not easy.
Let the disc work for you, not against you.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Broderick. He released a video not too long ago. Said, can't throw the glitch, probably just trash. Good. Simple as that. There's no better way to put it.
I love that.
All right. So we're coming up out of here. Let's go into a few wrap up. This is a question that we ask of everybody that's on the show. It's really a twofold question. It is, first of all, what do you got in the bag? And second of all, the long lost fabled disc, your favorite disc ever, regardless of sponsorships or anything.
Oh, come on.
If you could have this disc back in your bag, what would it be? We'll go over there. How about Matt?
Yeah,
what do you
Matt
think?
can
What was the question?
It's really 2 in 1. It's first of all, what are you bagging, and what is your favorite disc of all time? It could be because of nostalgia. It could be because of.
We already know his whole bag.
Yeah,
3
yeah.
rocks, 3 leopards, 3 firebirds.
That's right.
Or T-birds, not leopards.
T-birds.
Yeah, rocks, firebirds, T-birds, destroyers. I do think about that candy firebird that I lost. I think it was in Missouri, like Albert, Oakland. There's like a downhill with a river on the right, and I lost that firebird. It's candy firebird, like 160, just flipped up, almost perfect, but off a little bit too far to the right and over the river. That was not retrievable.
Dang.
Not retrievable.
So that candy plastic firebird, that's one
Is that
of
the
my,
old Pro lines? What's the old Pro ones?
I think it was a champion.
Are you talking like Jolly Launcher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, those were good.
The old Pro Firebirds were good.
L or no, not that. No,
straight
no. Sorry, I'm thinking about the monster. I'm thinking of the monster L.
Monsters.
Those are insane.
Yeah, but yeah, my standard bag is 3 DX or KC Pro rocks and a couple. I have a couple DX.
Let's give it up for the rock.
I have a couple DX T-birds. It's crazy how hard it is to find a good DX T-bird. Like Walmart is maybe the best place to find a good DX T-bird.
But you might be the best DX T-bird thrower in the world, man.
Oh, thank you.
I've seen it.
I appreciate it.
All right, Holyn. How about you? What do you got in the bag, and what's your favorite of all-time disc?
You want me to list every mold in my bag?
No, just maybe some of your go-tos.
Just the highlights?
Yeah,
All
some
right.
highlights.
I mean, yeah, like vultures and raptors are probably ones I have the most in my bag. I think I have 3 of each right now. Big fan of the Nebula, very underrated Discraft overstable
Nice.
molds. Buzz, Zone, Challenger SS, those are probably the heavy hitters. I don't know. I don't have honestly, I haven't lost that many discs. I haven't been playing like that long that I've had discs, that I've had for 5 years that I've
Maybe
lost.
just one you've retired.
But I haven't even really retired that many discs. But I have discs I would be really sad to lose. Will that suffice?
That'll work.
Okay, I've got this. It was the Tour Series Raptor from last year that I've been throwing so long that it's flippy now, and I can throw like a 340 laser beam forehand with it. And I just don't have anything that flies like that, and I would be heartbroken if I lost that guy.
What are you putting with?
Challenger SS.
Challenger SS.
Yeah, and the CT swirl plastic, so really, really stiff. And they actually get tackier when wet, so I don't mind if my grip gets wet in the rain.
Oh. Huh. All right, Eric. What about you?
The Dynasty is probably the best disc in my bag, and it's the old CD2 mold from Discmania. The Innova made CD2. We brought it over and made the Dynasty for the Infinite lineup. And when I was with Discmania a long time ago, that was the disc that really kind of shaped my game, forehand, backhand, and made me a very, very good player. So being able to kind of go back to my roots with that and throw a bunch of dynasties now with Infinite has been unbelievable. So it's a incredibly straight flying 9-speed that I can use everywhere. And then I definitely lean on my Emperors for a lot of forehands. They go really far. It's pretty sick. It's just a great destroyer mold. Pathfinders for mids and Alpacas for putting. The disc that I missed the most that I did lose when I moved to Salt Lake City was the very first D-Line P2 I ever purchased. It was this white DX D-Line P2 with the Psycho stamp. Threw it on this turnover, slid into the creek, and it was pretty rushing that day. Spent 45 minutes walking around on a rocky creek, never found it. It was really sad. That same day, I bought an S-Line FD in a D-Line P2, and that got me started on the Discmania journey. I feel like it was what eventually led to me having the opportunity to work with them for the period that I did. And then I still have that FD, so it'd be awesome to get that P2 back, but I think she's probably gone, and that's all right. But it was also a dope thrower. Like, it was one of those that I could power grip it. Like, and power gripping putters is something I don't do very often, but I could power grip it, throw it on hyzer, and it would flip, and then it would low speed turn. It would have when it's slowing down in its flight, it would work right. So it was awesome. So like thinking about hitting tunnel shots, it's like, oh, you're at the end of your flight, you should be fading out like most discs do. It just had this wonderful seasoned in where it would just be like, oh, and now we drift right. It was beautiful. So
whoa.
Low speed turn is the way the term I came up with, because that's you think about that, what?
Yeah.
What is a disc low speed turn?
Funny story, we were playing this course up by a river, and Jenny, put a couple in the river, took a couple hits off the tree. Well, we're back the next weekend to play a tournament, and the river had washed her disc up on a sandbar in the middle of the river.
Oh, amazing.
And there's no way you can get to it, but it's sitting right there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
All right. How about you, Robert? What are you bagging? Some highlights? What are you putting with? And if you could have any disc back in your bag or in your possession, what would it be?
I mean, I feel like my bag is, I guess, not standard for a dynamic player. I have almost completely enforcers, and I don't have any Rives, which seems to be anybody on Trilogy's favorite mold, but that's one that I never really connected with. I just have a ton of enforcers. I have a General that's a little flippier, which is nice. And then the Pine from Westside has been a new one that I've really been enjoying. Yeah, Pine is great. I actually have a Trilogy Challenge one from back in 2017. Those were the best runs, and it's just dead straight, thrown flat. It's exactly what I need for this course, and I'm happy to have it. I mean, Justice, Harp, Compass. I mean, Felons, Auties, Honors, Glories, Explorers, you name it, I've thrown it, and they've been in and out of my bag as I kind of work through what my bag is still. And I'm still learning a little bit of the lineup, and that comes with the territory, but I feel good in my bag. I'm putting with juries right now. They're nice and beat in. The ones I have are pretty flat on top and pretty straight up to 35, 40 when they start to fade off, and I just like the stability. I like to have a little more stable putters just so I can work it from distance, and that's what I want. And the disc I'd want back would be back in my possession, not necessarily in the bag. I lost an old Glow Wraith, an old PFN Glow Wraith. It came flat. It was one of the first 3 my dad and I ever bought because we wanted to go play glow rounds at our local 9-holer, and it was beat in perfectly. It was back when I was on Innova, and there was this 800-foot hole with I was playing it for the first time, and it got to the point where I was rolling it because I finally got 500 feet of power. I was throwing it flat. It was getting over to a perfect roller angle, and I asked the people on my card, is there any chance I'll lose this disc? Is there water anywhere left? If I don't turn it, can I lose it? And they're like, no, there's no chance you could possibly lose that disc. So I threw it, and I threw what I thought was a great shot, and then it just disappeared probably into the water, and I still think about it now and again, like, man, that was the best disc I had. Because it was the perfect stability to where, like, in the woods, I could throw it softer and it would flip up and, like, glide forever. I could forehand it. I could roll it. It was one of the discs where it's like, oh, I'm going on a trip and I'm taking 3 discs to play a course. I take that disc. Take that disc, like, probably a rock 3, and then I don't know what I was putting with Invader at that point. Like, I just enjoyed that disc so much, and it has so many good memories attached to it. That
Invader's a good disc. I mean, I don't know about if I would ever putt with it, but for
it's a good
thrower,
it's a good putting disc too. It's just dead
I think
straight.
Kona putts with it right now.
Does Kona putt with it?
Yeah,
I know
think
Emily
so.
does right now.
Last I checked, she did.
Yeah, it's just low profile, straight. Like, it's essentially a Casey Pro with a flatter profile. So, but yeah, that Wraith, if I could have that back, I'd pay a lot of money to have that disc back. But oh well.
All right, James, what do you think?
I can roll through my bag real quick. I putt with alpacas. I got a couple rocks. I got the Crux from Thought Space, 4 T-birds, 2 leopards, a Firebird, a Roman, which is the PD mold, a Wraith, a Destroyer, and the one disc I would love to have back is an old yellow KC T-bird with a blue stamp that
very specific.
Was I got a photo of it. It was like, I mean, it was my favorite disc. It was my favorite disc.
I wasn't pulling up a picture of mine.
I threw it so good, and I don't even know where I lost it. I just left it somewhere.
It just disappeared.
I went to grab it one day, and it wasn't in my bag. And yeah,
Those are the worst to lose.
That's the worst, dude. I can't live with that. I every single disc like I've ever bagged or owned or everything, I know where I got it from and where it ended up if it's no longer in my possession. And that really irks me if I don't know what happened to it.
It's like
I have
gone.
no-
it's just gone. No idea.
All right, Casey, how about you?
I mean, I'll just keep it simple for my bag. I putt with P2s. I throw more 7 speeds and 11 speeds than anyone else on tour. That's basically my whole game. And I throw an FT3 because everybody with a sidearm would. That was for Discmania. But as far as, I mean, like, it's different between like my favorite disc of all time or like my most like iconic discs of my career, because I would argue that my Just Send It DD3 was like my most iconic disc in my bag at any point.
Or the D-Line MD.
The D-Line MD was the other one, yeah. So like, but like,
Back in like
maybe it's because I'm not far removed enough from those being in my bag that I'm still like, oh yeah, you know, like, but Casey Pro Rock, man. I had this one at home. It's just like he was saying. He was talking all about his 11 times. Like, it taught me how to hyzer flip, and like I'm a hyzer flip player now. So what more do I have to thank than that disc? And it's gone, by the way. The one that I'm specifically yes, I do. It is at a golf course steel club in Pennsylvania. I hit a rock with it, like I hit a earth rock with my rock, and then I decided to throw it off of like one of their top of the world 400 footers, and it just drifted too much and into the thick of it, never to be seen again.
Dang.
Yeah. But it served its purpose. 6. I said I had 7 speeds. Yeah. They all fly different.
I got my
Believe you.
dynasties. I have 6.
Yeah,
I'm like locked in with you right now.
Yeah, I go
brother.
from
Love
FD
it.
to Flippy Skywalker 1 to straight Skywalker 1 to straight Skywalker 2 to beefy Skywalker 2 to beefy C-Line FD1. Simple as that. Oh, yeah, and overstable glidey Skywalker 1. So I forgot about that one.
All this talk about the disc is really about the mini.
Yeah, I got a Treasures of the Forest
Absolutely.
mini in the bag. Although I
have a long drink mini in my bag.
Nice.
Shout out to the fans.
All right. Well, anyway, we would like to thank all you guys for being with us. We're
Yeah,
going
of
to
course.
wrap it up here because we got tea times and everything, and we're coming up on 2.5 hours. That's pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah,
Sweet.
It goes. It's pretty fun. So, anyway, once again, let's give it up for our discussion panel here. We have Casey White.
Thank you.
James Proctor. Robert Burridge, Eric Oakley, Holyn Handley, and Matt Sime.
Let's go, man. Thank you both for having us.
Yeah.
Great hosts.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say to our audience before we close her out?
Spread positivity. Be a good human.
All right, so on this episode of the Intentional Disc Golfer podcast, we had a discussion panel with five DGPT pro players that are here for the Cascade Challenge, and we were talking all about tournament prep and getting ready and how to maximize your practice and your skills. And if you like what you hear here, you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, tell all of your friends. You can find us on all of the social medias. We have Facebook, Instagram, we have Twitter or X, however you want to say it. And you can also email us at theintentionaldiscgolfer@gmail.com. That is theintentionaldiscgolfer@gmail.com. We'd also like to thank our sponsors. We have Treasures of the Forest, which are here with us. We're very honored. Not very often we get to have that live. And we'd also like to thank Salty Unicorns, who is also sponsoring us. And of course, we need to thank the fans because you guys are the reason that we keep doing this. We couldn't do this if you guys weren't around and showing your support. So thank you. And closing out the Intentional Disc Golfer, I am one of your hosts. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Jenny.
And here at the Intentional Disc Golfer, we truly believe that disc golf changes lives. So go out there and grow the sport.